Hey, my name is King. If you don't know who I am, my name is Israel King. I'm a writer, director, and anime commentator on my main channel, King Tannic. Now, if you've been a fan of pop culture for any amount of time, then you surely must have noticed the sudden rise in popularity in anime and manga. Films breaking box office records, series topping the most pirated show of the year chart, and of course, the very apparent fan base that has surrounded it. According to a poll back in February of this year, about 50% of Gen Z watches anime. Now, if you're not Gen Z, it can be kind of hard not knowing anything about this new, sudden, very popular corner in the pop culture zeitgeist. And that's where we come in. King Tannic and the Burnettwork have partnered to bring you the best anime and manga related news show on YouTube. The Otaku Experience is your go-to place to find out the biggest stories of the week in the anime and manga industry. Still not convinced? Try the show out for yourself. The show airs Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time or 5 p.m. Eastern. The Otaku Experience, only on the Burnettwork.
Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, Robert Meyer Burnett. I invite you to watch and listen to the Designing Hollywood podcast, brought to you by Martika Ibarra and the great, legendary Hollywood costume designer, Marilyn Vance. I am afforded the wonderful opportunity of co-hosting the show. If you are interested in the magic of Hollywood, the design of Hollywood, the clothes of Hollywood, watch the Designing Hollywood podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts from, or find the video version on the John Campea YouTube channel. That's right, the Designing Hollywood podcast. Why would you ever want to miss it? Especially if you love the movies.
There's a company called Hot Toys, and they make these insanely realistic, renderings of characters. They do them for all the Marvel characters or whatever, and they look so much like you. It's disturbing, actually. Like, scary. They look so much like you, but they're tiny. They're like 18 inches or something like that. They actually that's what's crazy about that company is they hand make the, like they carve the mold. The mold of, thank you, of the.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Robservations with Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, Robert Meyer Burnett. And it's another Midnight Musings where we muse. We muse about stuff. And you muse with us. We muse together. We make great musings. That's what we do. Great, beautiful musings. And it's great to have you here. This is Midnight Musings, episode number 54. All of you imagination connoisseurs who make up this, the Post-Geek Singularity community, good to see you. Tomorrow we are, by the way, if you're a member of the channel, we're going to be doing a membership call tomorrow. I think I'm going to have to start it at noon because I think I've got dog training in the morning. I mean, it's not for me personally. I just have to go through it. But you know her, you love her. It's not a show without her. She's
Hello, Robert. Hello, everybody. Robert, it's so good to be back on Midnight Musings. I missed last week, Robert. It was bad not having the show. I really missed doing the show.
I tried, and then when I was going to let you guys go, I was going to do my own midnight metal at my midnight. Couldn't do it. I mean, we were without power and internet basically for 2 days, and by no fault of my own, which was a bummer. But everything worked out, and there's a beautiful new power pole at the end of the street, and apparently all is well. But it was precarious there. It was precarious. The pole, when it was one of the supports, this woman ran into one of the support poles. Where we live, it's not underground, so it's the old posts, power posts, and it's like 50 feet tall. It's a big post, and when they have these support wires that have support that hold it in place, and this woman hit the post, it snapped, and the actual post with all the equipment on it started going like this, and you could hear the wood going And
Oh
if
God.
if it had snapped, it would have. They were able to. The power company came. They were able to support it. But if it had gone down, it would have pulled down. I think there were like 150 homes without power for 2 days. But if that thing had gone down, it would have. The whole town could have been disrupted. But it was interesting because Southern California Edison, they don't have a lot of motivation. They'll work as long as it takes because they get paid by the hour. They brought in on Saturday this freelancer outdoor construction, and they weren't Southern California Edison. And these guys, I went down to the end of the street and I watched them, and they worked this was like the commando repair unit. They came in, they brought everything was new. They literally replaced everything. Everything was new. They got that post in the ground. They fixed that stuff up. And then they were gone by like 4 p.m. I figured, oh, great, we're going to have, power, no problem. Southern California Edison had to run through a barrage of tests. And also, when the power came back, the internet did not, even though it's at the same. So woe is me, white boy problems here in America. But still, you realize we have solar power on the roof. And it made me realize that we've got great solar power, but we don't have any battery power. There's no battery. So if the power goes down, this is the only time it's happened since we've been here, but I'm like, we have solar on the roof. Why aren't we powered? I want to go buy some, like John Campia bought some solar power. He bought batteries, and he bought like for $200 each solar panels and put them on his roof, so he could always power his home studio for as long as he wanted to. I got to get on that. I got to take the Robservatory off the grid, man.
You're going to take it off the grid, but I was concerned about HVAC because I know once it starts to get hot, you're entering those months where it can get hot and it's not comfortable being in your house without air.
No, we were pretty good. And what we were really worried about was, Elizabeth gets meat orders. She orders like really nice meat from those butcher services. And so we have a lot of meat. It's expensive that was in the freezer. Mm-hmm. And we have a fairly new, it's a Samsung. It's got internet. The refrigerator has internet. It tells you what you're missing. It's crazy. But we were worried, but that Samsung, that not only was because there's automatic ice, the power was out for almost 36 hours. The ice didn't even melt. So It was awesome. I'm like, wow, this new technology that we have here. You don't take any. You take refrigerators and freezers for granted until you're left without one, and then you're wondering if your meat was going to spoil or something. And I'm like, nope, this worked out really well. But that's not why people come to this show.
No, it's not.
There's been a lot of craziness in terms of stock prices and Disney and the fact that Fast X is making no money domestically. I mean, it's made some money, but it's available on VOD 2 weeks after it was in the theaters.
Quite a change from Fast 9, huh?
Wow. I mean, and this movie cost $350 million.
Yeah.
But I have to say, as somebody, this is going to seem odd, but as somebody who loves that franchise, I really did not like Fast 9. I really didn't like Fast 9, and Fast 10 was not much better. And those movies have gone, in my humble opinion. The whole point about car chase, it was funny. I was flipping through channels, and The Road Warrior was on. That was made. Yes. It came out in Australia in 1981. It was released here in 1982, and it was a scene toward the end of the movie where they've taken the truck full of gas, and it's being chased, and all the renegades are after it, and there's a shot where the gyro captain is in Little Nelly, and it's a side angle shot where you're looking at the road, you see the truck, and you see Little Nelly fly into I say Little Nelly from You Only Live Twice, but it flies into the foreground, and it's a thrilling shot because it's real, and the whole point of, I'm always talking about verisimilitude. I'm always banging on about verisimilitude. But the problem with the Fast and the Furious movies is for a while there, it was all verisimilitude because they were doing stunts with real cars. And now I watch the film and I'm like, this is all CG, computer assisted bullshit. I I can't watch it. So the car chases are no longer thrilling for me. You're watching a video game. I might as well be playing Burnout. You know, I used to love the Burnout franchise on PlayStation, and I like Burnout 3 fucking ruled. Or Burnout Paradise. That was I watched this movie and I was not enjoying it because the action scenes, as much as they're creating mayhem, they use too much computer assisted stuff, and you just are like, this. It's only car chase movies are only as good as the car chases in them, and if the car chase stuff that you're seeing, the action is just too cartoony, then it ceases to mean anything. And I can't. And that's how I felt about Fast 10, and I think that's the reason that there's been diminishing returns with those movies, not like the masterpiece that is Fast 5.
Yeah, and for me, it's always been Tokyo Drift. I think that was one of the cleverest, Fast and Furious films ever made.
I love the drift.
Mm-hmm.
I love the drift.
Every time I first of all, of course, the cars are sliding. This motion that's so soothing. Why? I don't know, but it's so cool to see the cars that's kind of swerving. And who has not grown up going somewhere in their neighborhood as a kid, seeing guys with their cars, just turning the wheel fast, spinning the car out. I mean, it all kind of feels like it stems from that, but this is so much cooler, so much more just, defined, precise, and you have to look cool doing it, and your car has to look cool doing it. It's very, very specific, but very, very tied to cars. I think that they're verving away from the cars. Every caper they solve, it's like it's less and less car orientated. I think that's a problem. But I also think that a lot of these stars who are great stars were not used to fruition. Like their attributes, we didn't see any of that. Alan Richardson, who is incredible. We saw him in Reacher. That man is gorgeous. I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit more physical. I think there are a lot of things that could have been done with these stars. I, for some reason, just wanted to constantly see Momoa on a motorcycle with a leather jacket. Don't ask me why, Robert. I don't know why, but I see him that way.
I know why you want to see Jason Momoa on a motorcycle with a leather jacket. I mean, we all know. Come on.
But I mean, yeah, I think that some of the coolness might have left it a little bit. And the team also was a little bit more vulnerable. I don't want to see them vulnerable ever. I think people can take shots at them, but I'm almost wondering what the point of them being vulnerable is. Why should all their money be taken away? Why? And the Charlize Theron character, and I love her as an actress, but I still think that if she and Michelle Rodriguez had a lesbian scene instead of that fight scene, it would have been a hell of a lot more interesting in this show. As far as I'm concerned, I think I would have done things a little differently for some of it. And I did not relish the idea of him making an attack on the Vatican. I just don't really. That was not anything I wanted to see. It didn't feel exciting. It felt more like the Da Vinci Code. But, to be honest with you, I just didn't like that notion of what they were doing. I would have done things a little differently, but it is disappointing. I know that Fast 9 made something like 700 million.
But it's still, it underperformed. And this is this is the fact that they already put it on VOD after 2 weeks. But, I want to know, as a Charlize Theron, Michelle Rodriguez lesbian scene. You know who I want to know if he wants to see that? That'd be our other great co-host, Mr. Lael Rockwell. Lael Rockwell, welcome to Midnight Musings 54. It's great to have you, sir. Do you second our esteemed colleagues' thought that she would rather have a lesbian scene between Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron in Fast X than a fight scene?
I didn't even see the movie yet.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I guess you know what. I would want to say that I'm a less than average fan of the franchise. I mean, listen, I've seen them all. I think the last film I've probably partially seen. I don't think I've really got through the entire thing, but I think I did. I think I actually did. I saw it till the end because I think Charlize Theron's character escaped.
Yeah.
In the end, but this one I already got spoiled by some of it already, especially the ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just haven't seen it in theaters yet because it hasn't been like a desire of mine to actually see it in
No.
theaters. So,
Well,
uh,
I mean, I think what's interesting in the larger context. I mean, we have Flash is opening next week,
mhm,
and then after that, or a couple weeks, we have Indiana Jones opening,
mhm,
and Fast X. In terms of franchise entertainment, I just think a lot of these franchises are IPs that the studios. I mean, it's amazing that they're going to make another movie with Dwayne Johnson as Hobbs.
yeah.
That isn't part of the continuity. That's not. It's just a weird. And they're spending. I mean, this movie needed to gross worldwide theatrical. It cost $350 million. If you consider the ad buys and how much they spent on marketing, let's call it another $150 million. This movie needed to make $1.5 billion to break even.
Mhm.
Because the rule is it used to be it has to make 3 times its budget. Because remember, the studios only get half of what the movie grossed, and the movie in America has been really. I mean, okay, it might make 150 million, but the studio only gets 75 million of that from a movie that costs 350 million. That is not good.
So it bombed, or it sort of bombed, I guess.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because it's doing well internationally.
Yeah.
And but it's really weird. It's kind of like what the last James Bond movie did. And I think that we always talk about whether it's Star Wars or whether it's other more popular franchises in the geek space. But the studios also rely on this. This is a huge moneymaker for Universal, and some of the films like Fast 7 I think made 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
So there's not. It's just, I had lunch today with a very successful film producer who has produced many successful movies over the last 20 years, and they've also produced a lot of low budget movies that have done well. And I said, I was like, why can't you make 10 low budget movies? Like we were talking about all kinds of movies, but like A Smile that costs 17 million, makes 200 million. And he pointed out, he goes, okay, so you're going to make 10 of those movies. You're going to make, and that'll be $2 billion. Can you make 10 great horror movies that are going to make that kind of money? And the studios, just with the way Wall Street works, they can't make mid-level, smaller movies anymore. They have to make these gigantic global tentpoles. And I'm like, yeah, but what if they don't work?
But see, what I wanted to, I don't think, and I was thinking about this like a couple weeks ago. I don't think Hollywood and the box office and theater going experience, I don't think it's fully recovered yet, bro. I have been sitting here saying this for a minute since COVID. It has not fully recovered.
I don't disagree.
It hasn't, bro, because there's far in between of certain films that have actually even approached or reached like the $1 billion club. I mean, of course, we had Avatar, of course. But there have only been a few films that have actually reached it this year and even last year, to be quite honest. Like, I don't think that we have fully recovered, bro. And the thing is, it's like when you're seeing a lot of these films, if they spend at least, anywhere between 30 to 45 days, even less, on screen before they hit VOD, that's a sign, bro. Like that's definitely a sign. And it's like, yo, it's going to get to the point where these studios are going to kind of reflect and be like, yo, do we want to spend millions and millions of dollars, on these films and not actually recover or get the kickback, from everything that we've done thus far? You know what I mean? Because the thing is the project, and then we, like, from what we're hearing about, Vin Diesel, who's, these so many, I guess he's producer on the actual film, and, he does certain things. And it's like he's calling the shots, paying all these actors X amount of money, demanding this amount of money, for production and stuff like that. It's like, yo, these studios need to sit back and be like, yo, what y'all believe was that partially why the last director just departed and left? But was that
and Justin Lin had directed 4 or 5 previous installments, including Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. And it's just like, yo, like Vin, I think the dude's getting a little bit too big and cocky, bro, to the point where he's demanding all this money, for for this franchise, and the kickback and the residual gain isn't there. It really, really isn't there right now, bro. Like, so it's
No,
like they
yeah, I
might
mean,
want to rethink some things, man.
I agree. I mean, and another thing, because we didn't get to talk about this last week because I didn't do a show because I had no power, but I really want to talk to you both about Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh man.
Now, what's really interesting to me is people forget, even though it won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film, Into the Spider-Verse domestically only grossed $190 million. And internationally, it only grossed $194 million for a worldwide total. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse totally, during its entire run, made $384,256,930. Now, here's a film that, because it was animated, it was Spider-Man, the fact that it was animated, I don't think it deserved to make more, because I think Into the Spider-Verse was a wonderful movie. I didn't think it could be surpassed. I was wrong. But looking at that, I think when you see Across the Spider-Verse already, it's only 20 million away from its domestic total. It's made 170 million domestically in a week. I believe it will cross. It will Into the Spider-Verse domestically, or pardon me, Into the Spider-Verse, the first film, made total in America 190 million. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is going to surpass that this weekend. And then, and already it's made 257 million. It's only made 87 million worldwide, globally outside of America, but I think it's going to make a lot more. And you look at something like Across the Spider-Verse, and it takes, I mean, I was stunned by the animation in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
For I think it's a staggering achievement. And I mean, it was such a wonderful movie on every, I mean, if the only criticism I would say is that maybe it's a little overstuffed. It's a little at some point in terms of sensory overload, it was like, whoa, but that's not a criticism, but what a wonderful movie, and you look at a film that takes the core values of the franchise. It focuses on, Gwen and Miles and all the other stuff that it focuses on too, but it has that core parental relationships, interpersonal relationships. It never forgot what it was. It never, what it established in Across the Spider-Verse, I mean, what it's captured Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, plussed it. It did everything I think great franchise filmmaking does. If it's the first one's a great movie, this one is also a great movie, but it's innovative, and it takes the storyline further, and it accentuates our love of the characters. And I thought it was a really great example of how to handle an IP well. I mean, they could have just thrown everything. Sometimes it felt like we were getting everything but the kitchen sink, but it was still done with such care and verve and wit and intelligence and emotion. And I'm like, this is how IP filmmaking should be done. So I was comparing and contrasting, and like Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought was really good too. Yeah. So Guardians of the Galaxy and Into the Spider-Verse, I was really down on superhero movies, and to a certain extent, I really enjoyed The Flash a lot, and it had that same kind of emotional resonance.
I'll see it next Friday on IMAX in the IMAX theater. I was going to see Thursday, but the theater that we normally go to is trash. I said I wanted to see this, pretty much on the biggest screen. So yeah, we're going to travel to go see it on Friday instead of seeing it Thursday, but I can't wait to see it.
Well,
I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think 2023 is turning out to be the year of the animated feature, because we had Super Mario Brothers that's hit $1 billion, and it seemed to hit it relatively easy. You can go to the theater and see it still. You can watch it at home. You can purchase it. People are still throwing out cash for Super Mario Brothers. Now we have Across the Spider-Verse, which was maybe even more spectacular than Into the Spider-Verse. It's making money, and I have a feeling it's going to be in the theaters all summer. People are going to be running to see this. We're going to be seeing and this is kind of a spoiler alert, but we're going to be seeing many more different types of Spider-Men and Spider-Women out there, right, at cosplay, because already whenever you went to a con, there was a million people dressed as Spider-Man. Now we're going to see even more. I think it's expanded the IP so well, but it was just like the first one, there was so much in that feature, that animated feature. If you turned away for a second, you missed something. So you're gonna want to go see it again. And
Mhm.
what's funny is that there are not a lot of films where you're like, I want to go see that again. Well, I had to see it again. I saw it 2 times. And the second time it was even better than the first time. There were some very specific things that I liked about it, and a lot of it had to do with the colors. I just love those colors that they used, the saturation of the colors. Robert, I think I sent you a few pictures of my favorite. Of course, they had Spider Punk, who is my favorite Spider-Man of all time. But even so, I think that this film, it just is so cool. And they had so many elements in it that made it spectacular. And I think that they like to push the limits here. This is, in an animated feature, is exactly where you should be pushing the limits of multiverses. And yes, I had to write down, like, I knew there were different Earths. I was like, which one are we on? Like, I'm not going to keep track as well as everybody else. But if even I can watch this and understand what's going on, then it has to be a good animation. I could walk into that theater. Anybody could walk into the theater. You didn't have to see Into the Spider-Verse to enjoy Across the Spider-Verse. That's another measurement of, is this a good film or not? You didn't have to know anything. The same thing for Super Mario Brothers. You could walk into that film with your family, and even if you're not a fan of Super Mario and your kids are, it's fine. You're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to have a good time. And I think that that's what this whole thing, we needed to have things that were fun. You can have a good time and just, enjoy the moment. This is a very special moment. In addition to these wonderful animated features, Studio Ghibli has some movies coming up. When I went to my page for Regal Theaters to see what was coming up for 2023 and what would be previewing, all I saw, like, out for months and months and months, were animated features. Studio Ghibli, all sorts of amazing things. There was one, looking into a mirror of a lonely castle. I was like, oh, I gotta see that. Like, there were all sorts of animated features that made me more excited than anything else out there. So I think this might be the year of the animated feature. At least that's what I'm saying. It's a trend that I've noticed.
No, I mean, I think that obviously, people are Elemental was getting bad notices. We saw 25 minutes of it at CinemaCon. Of course, they showed us a half an hour of Lightyear last year, and I thought it was going to be incredible. And then the latter half of it was not so good. But I really love the first 25 minutes of Elemental that I saw, and I think, does that open next week? I don't know when that opens. Again, does it open against the Flash? I don't know. But I thought it was good. I mean, look, we go to the movies and we want to see. I think we're all predisposed to hate everything right now. Everything we're going to hate it, but we're getting some great stuff, and I'm glad people can recognize when we're getting things that are good, that it isn't just a hate fest. I've not seen Transformers yet. I know King Tannic, Israel, is in the chat. He loved it, and he's our big resident. But then again, I don't trust him because he thinks Age of Extinction's a masterpiece. To each his own. That's all I can say. But I haven't seen it. But I think that this summer so far is shaping up. Now, I have to ask, we got Indiana Jones coming. Now, obviously, Disney played it at Cannes thinking they had a big hit on their hands. It kind of backfired on them. However, for me personally, I love the Indy franchise. I think Raiders is a perfect movie. I mean, for me, it's Raiders, Temple of Doom, with Last Crusade a distant third. I know people are like, what? But that's how I feel about it. And I didn't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But for me, I'm really excited to see Indiana Jones. I mean, it looked to me like everything I've read about it and the reviews I've read, there's nothing in it that makes me think, sorry, there's a spider coming down. There's nothing that makes me think that it's going to suck. I'm sure it'll be competent. I mean, it's James Mangold. So what do you guys think? I mean, Lael, are you excited for Indy?
I mean, listen, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, was a appointment for me. Because of the angle that they actually took with it. I mean, there were certain aspects of it in the very beginning that were good, but then there were aspects of it that just didn't, it just didn't sell. You know what I mean? And but to each their own. But I am anticipating this film. I tend not to, and I've desensitized myself from the critical response, bro. For real, I have. Because the thing is, it's like everything becomes Chinese whispers at a certain time. You know what I mean? Where it's always filtered down. What this person said gets mixed up with that person said, and then they take it and it's highly interpretive. They'll actually change the narrative to suit whatever's being, whatever their viewing experience might have been. So I kind of stay away from all that. I kind of just go into it with a clean slate. I want to enjoy it, the way I definitely want to enjoy it. I went to see, like, for instance, today I went and saw Transformers. It was, to me, and the way I saw it, I would say that, the first Transformers film, was good. Bumblebee, and then this one. I thought it was pretty good. I thought that
That's what people
basically
are,
what they gave, yeah, from what they, and not to spoil it, but when you have to sit through the end, because they're bridging two worlds together with this film. At the very end, there's two worlds, they're going to collide, and don't think it, and for like the average viewer, don't think that it's two worlds that's foreign, because it did happen in the comics. So you'll see it. But yeah, they're bridging that together. But I thought that it was a good movie going experience. I love the Maximo, when the Maximals basically said maximize. That was incredible. It was, I think the experience itself was pretty good with that film. Into the Spider-Verse, bro, like, literally, it wasn't beyond it for me. It was just beyond just the animation, was the spectacle. The story was well done. It was a well-written story, and you felt it. You felt that tug of war between him and his family, also his relationship with Gwen, and also really, really still discovering himself and coming into his own. And I love that aspect of the film. If the story is well done, then everything else is a bonus. And the animation for that film was a bonus for me. And I was like, yo, everything about it, I loved. It was crystal clear and clean. I mean, the only thing that I can actually say that was a downfall was the theater that I was in. The audio was just kind of like, the audio was crazy, bro, because you can hear the music, but you can barely hear them talking. Then the next night that we actually went, you can hear them talking, but then the music was low. So I was like, yeah, it might have been just maybe the theater that we actually saw it in. I want to go experience it somewhere else.
Movie theaters have one job, and they are not, if you want to get people to come back to a movie theater, you've got to make sure the experience of seeing the movies, it's funny when it's got to be good. Where we live now, we don't have like some of the bigger chains, and there's we have a chain called Harkins. It's the Harkins theater chain. Yeah. And I really love our local theater. It's a big plex. I'd never been to a Harkins theater before, and I was like worried, like, oh no, am I gonna have to drive far? This AMC that I love that was close shut down. Yeah. But they do a good job and they care. And there's nothing more depressing to me. I mean, I take that when I shouldn't say nothing more depressing, but loving the movie going experience. I mean, I hate going to see a movie when the audio and the picture, that's all they have to do. Because at home, my audio and picture, the screen is not as big, obviously, but it's tweaked. And when I sit in my little chamber, my viewing movie room, my viewing chamber, the sound is fucking tits. And can I say that? Sure I can. I just did. It's amazing, and that's how I expect going to a movie theater should be.
Yeah, and that's the way I expected it to be. But which is why I said, next week I'm going to see The Flash, at in a theater IMAX, one of the biggest ones, and I know the sound of this theater is going to be incredible. But Indy, bro, I'm look, I think it's going to be interpreted for me. I mean, you're seeing Harrison Ford's last go around as Indy, and again, I'm just going to go in without really listening. I haven't even watched trailers yet, bro. I haven't even seen one single. With that trailer, I just decided not to watch it. I want to go in with a clean slate and just enjoy the viewing experience. And then I have my own interpretation, because I don't want to listen to what other people have to say about it. Because again, like I said, it's just becoming this, like you said, bro, the film going experience now is just this huge hate fest for almost every single film, bro. Like literally, that's just the way it feels like. Everybody hates this film because it didn't give them this, or they thought this person should have did that, or they didn't get the, you know what? And it's cool to have your own opinions about it. That's fine. But when I'm hearing the same, it's like an echo chamber, bro. I'm hearing the same thing from individuals.
Well,
and I'm
that's
like, did you
yeah.
really go see that? Did you see the film for you? Or are you just echoing what someone else has been saying? Because that's all I'm hearing is the same things. And I'm like, you know what? Let me go see this myself, because you are sounding like the last person that I watched that critiqued this film. So let me go basically see it for myself, because I might take something differently from it that you did. And I think that's what it's all about for anybody. When you go for yourself and just experience it. Don't, right now, don't even take my word for it. If I said that Transformers, I thought was a pretty good film, go see it for yourself so then you can decide. You know what I mean? That's what I think it should happen, instead of just listening to like all these critiques that are just blending in and just sounding like one huge voice. Like, it's just see it for yourself.
By the way, as an aside, have you always had Ray on her speeder up behind your head?
Yes. Well, no. I actually had her in the detail first, but then when I got the speeder, I put her on that speeder, and it's above the detail for right now. I'm in the process of building another.
Well, I can see it now, and I'm like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
I pre-ordered that fucking Bat Cycle today.
Oh, did you?
Cha-ching.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, come on.
Which one? The Jazz Inc.
Yeah, the Jazz Inc. diecast. Bat Cycle, dude.
Here's the thing, bro. Like, if I go down that road, if I go down the 66 road and down that road of, it's just too much to get right now. So I was just like, you know what? I'll leave it. I'll let everybody else do it. I'll stay in my lane. I'm already getting the 89. I'm just like, I'll stay there and I'll just live vicariously through everybody else.
See, I got the 89 Hot Toys Batmobile.
Expensive, bro.
It is. Well,
expensive.
It's really interesting because somebody got their snow speeder today.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, and I'm like, I'm all paid out shipping.
Uh-huh.
I haven't got a shipping notice that they shipped it, but I don't know. That's going to be really difficult to explain to Elizabeth. I don't know. Even though, but I'll tell you what I did get this week.
What?
My InArts Joker showed up, and
you finally got it?
And my Sam Wilson Captain America.
Oh, you got them both. Okay.
And my Wanda. Well, I got my Wanda too. Finally, my Wanda from WandaVision.
Yeah. Did you get them all from the same company?
No.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I did not get them all from. InArts I got from the same company that I had ordered a long time ago, but they sent it. It's fine. The problem is, I have like $3,000 worth of credit there because I didn't. God. Well, because I didn't. Here's the problem. You know what? Do you know why I haven't spent that credit? Because they don't allow me to pay shipping with that credit.
Oh.
And I don't have any extra cash to pay shipping. And so it's like you spend $3,000 on the shipping's going to be $1,000.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't. It's so maddening because
they won't let you break up the actual credit.
No, they won't. And the maddening
you have
thing
to use it all at once.
And the thing about my credit was it was a No, I can break up the credit. I can break up the credit, but then you still are paying all of that. Shit, piecemeal. And the thing is, for me, I keep putting things in my bag that they keep selling out, or in my cart that they keep selling out of. So it's being whittled down. And I'm like, oh, and they also shipped my So-So Rogue, but I didn't order from the same company that we're talking about.
The thing is, I purchased that from 1/6 Outfitter, bro, and I'm still waiting on. I paid the shipping and everything for it, and so I'm still waiting on it because they what I kind of didn't like is that they actually send out the invoice to pay for it, but they don't even have it yet. Like, it's still being.
Yeah, but have you bought from them before?
No, this is the first time.
Okay, I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan of that company. And what they do is they ask you to pay shipping like 2 weeks before it arrives at their warehouse. So, and when it arrives, you get it right away. So they do ask for shipping, but that's only in anticipation. Like, you can wait, you don't have to pay it. But when they ask for shipping, it's usually like 2 weeks, but then you get it before 2 weeks because they're always. But I really like 1/6 Outfitters. I bought a
Yeah.
lot of stuff from them. I think they're a
Mhm.
reputable company. I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's still like I said. I mean, they just said that they're waiting for it to come from.
Yeah, and
Like
they
you know,
do
and once
that.
they
They
get
do
it.
that as soon as it comes in. They will ship
Yeah.
it out to you, and you'll get the
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah. So that's what I'm just waiting to see. Once I get it, definitely I'll be excited about it. But I'm just waiting on it. You know what I mean? It's to see how it's going to be because I think next Friday my Carnage ships out. So yeah, but I've been really taking it easy on orders. I've been kind of just scaling back, just waiting, just to see certain things right now. So yeah, yeah, I'm anticipating it should be pretty good, bro.
I mean, yeah. There's what I really want is I was on the stream with Anthony and when Brian from Modulcase came on because I've only got a section, but the way I'm rearranging, I'm moving shelves around. I will have an L-shaped wall, and then I'll have my perfect Modulcase display area.
Yeah,
I just need more Modulcases. And the thing is, do I build? Elizabeth's like, just build the ones you have, and I'm like, but I can't, because I need the DF60s, the DF120s, the DF60s, the DF120s, and I want to get because I have a corner. There's a corner here, and those corner pieces, I was like, if they just made corner pieces, and they did. And those corner pieces, those are dope, man.
yeah, bro.
So,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I feel you.
I know
Bro.
the chat's like going, "What? What are you even talking about?" but yeah, but a lot of great. Let me ask you this: since we're on Hot Toys, both of you, so Hot Toys did put up for pre-order or whatever those Warner Brothers. I'm sure you've talked about these a million times already, but I haven't talked to you about it. The 100th anniversary. So we got the Gal Gadot from the first Wonder Woman in a brighter suit with a pretty cool stand with a,
Yeah.
and then we got some weird Christian Bale hybrid Batman from the movies, but a blue cowl.
Yeah.
That actually looks pretty cool, but I'm like, what? It's Christian Bale, so it's not like, why didn't they go and make like a 70s Batman that
Bro,
Neil Adams would have drawn?
A lot of people were saying, and one of the biggest things, and there were two suits that I wish they would have done it to. It would have been, the Batman Begins would have been perfect, and also if they I'll put it that way, the Batman Begins, the BVS Batman Ben Affleck, or if they would have did the 89. You know what I mean? If they would have went back and did the Keaton suit that way, I think it would have been decent. To choose the DX19, bro, made absolutely no sense to me. It didn't because
Is that what that is? It's the DX19 recolored.
it's the DX19 recolored. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's the DX19 recolored, bro.
That doesn't.
Yeah, I know. It didn't. When I saw it, I was like, "Yo, what?" And that's why I didn't even go after it. I mean, it just. I was like, "No." The Wonder Woman I was trying to get, because this Gal Gadot, and I love Wonder Woman in general.
And I love the stand. I mean, I was like, that stand is so elegant and cool.
And that's what I was trying to go after. The problem was that when I put it in, it happens whenever they have these releases on Sideshow. You go in, it gets to your cart. As soon as you get to your cart to pay out, it says your cart's empty, and you got to go back in and do it again. And then by the time you do it again, you're waitlisted. Yep, it's crazy. That's what happened today. It sold out. But I already said early this week, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, hey, I still got my others. I'm fine. I got the 84, and I think the 84 is perfect, so I'm good. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't meant to be. But that thing, it sold quick, like really quick. So
wow, yeah. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't need that.
That's the way I felt, bro. That's just the
Whatever.
way I felt, man.
There's more to buy. There's more stuff out there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got some more stands today. I need some more stands for my X-Men figures, And I cannot wait to pose my Gambit with that Rogue. I cannot wait.
I've seen so many individuals with it that have gotten it so far, that have actually posed it with Rogue. I mean posed it with Gambit. They've actually posed it versus Captain Marvel. And that's basically like, I think it's the third party version of it. to make it more accurate. But like, yeah, I've seen so many people doing it, man. But I cannot wait. Yeah, there were some pushback. Like a lot of people were like hating on the sculpt. But I'm like, you know what? It's interpretive. We didn't like. I mean, unless they use Anna Paquin, and of course they're not going to use her likeness for it. They're especially for this version. They're going with a more. It's like a totally different version of it, and I thought it was nice.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, that's what they're
I'm
going
talking
for, bro.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted that version. I'm glad. I can't wait till it drop. I mean, it gets here, and I'm gonna be happy about it. I'm gonna definitely be happy about it.
Yeah, well, being that I bought all these third-party X-Men figures, I mean, I'm just anything X-Men to put, and plus, how great are they going to look with that Sideshow Cyclops?
Yeah,
I love my Sideshow Cyclops.
Sideshow Cyclops, your Magneto. I mean, I have the Sideshow Cyclops. I have the Wolverine. I have both the Astonishing and the regular version of Cyclops. And I have Magneto, bro. You know, there was a love triangle between Magneto and Remy.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be incredible. Can't wait.
I've got two Magnetos. I got the Michael Fassbender Magneto, and I've got the Ian McKellen Magneto. I can't wait to have the whole.
I got the comic accurate Sideshow version of that Magneto. I think that one, bro, is the ultimate with the hovering mask. Oh my God, with the hovering helmet in his hand. Like, yeah, that one is the definitive one, bro. I could not pass that one up. It's so beautiful, bro. And I'll never give it away. I'll never part with it. It's that gorgeous. Love it.
No, I can't wait. I mean, I forgot that's coming. There's a lot of cool. There's like a convergence of coolness that happened. They finally shipped my my space battleship, the Hachette from Japan, the 120 volume part work of the 3.5 foot long space battleship Yamato that goes with my space battleship Andromeda. That I, 4 years took 4 years to get that fucker.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
And he finally.
I can't wait. I mean, I have to build it, and I'm still not done with the space battleship Andromeda. But when they're built, those things are huge. I don't know where I'm going to put them. But yeah. What can I say?
It's some gorgeous pieces coming, bro.
There's
like
a
that's what I'm saying.
A lot of that Captain America though. I mean, I knew it was
Sam
cool.
Wilson?
Yeah, I knew it was cool.
Bro, it's figure of the year. Definitely figure of the year. It's incredible. I mean, the articulated wings. I mean, like literally, what you can do with those wings are incredible. It is definitely figure of the year, bro. It is an amazing, amazing piece to have in your collection. If you don't already have it, yeah, I'd tell anybody to get that. And you get it even now before like the new suit drops. I mean, to have both suits in your collection to be decent.
I mean, it's like the new suits got almost like the reverse colors.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to like display them both.
But honestly, like when I look at it, I'm like, yo, I really like this one better. I like the color palette on this one better. I like the all white and blue. It's something about it. And I think it kind of, he stood out and it was so different from the traditional costume. And I think now with this one, it's too closely related to what we have already gotten from, Cap, Steve Rogers. So again, like I like this one. I mean, of course I'll get the new one that drops. I'm not going to just sit up there and act like I won't do it. But once it drops, I'll get it. But I'm just saying, like this one, I like this one better though. Yeah.
It's spectacular.
Yeah, it is.
And the big box, I was like, ooh. But we digress.
Yeah, let's digress.
Yeah, we haven't talked about fucking yet. Don't worry. We'll figure that out. There's a few let's see, there's a few super chats. Tom Jr. Jackson says, "Oh, this is a chat worthy of the stream." Tom Jr. Jackson says, "Happy 69 day, Robert. Get it? 6'9". Ha ha ha. Well, Tom, I'm glad you said it and I didn't, because people would just groan. But there you go. Scott Bartholomew says, "I know it's unrelated to tonight's discussion, but you should one day do a review of one of my favorite TV series, Good versus Evil, 1999 to 2000 by the Pate brothers. Badass funny." I like that show. I remember that show. That's not a bad idea. Glenn Mark says, hi, those are Flash earrings.
Yes, they are. Thanks for noticing. They're it's a lightning bolt flashy thing, but it's in hot pink, so I don't know.
Those are pretty flashy, though. I like them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michael Patowski says, hey, Rob, did you hear the People Under the Stairs 4K from Scream Factory is region locked? I hope this is not the start of something. I have other region locked. So for those of you who don't know, 4K discs used to not be region locked. When you got a 4K disc from around the world, they worked everywhere. There were a few that were region locked, like my Studio Canal. I got the Doors from Studio Canal. That was region locked. So I think region locking is going to be more of a thing moving forward. I don't care because I have multi-region players, so it doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people don't, but it was to be expected. It was to be expected, especially with the region locking was multiple things. Wait for Otoy to do Fast and the Furious. Ha ha ha. Otoy is that company that made those really cool Star Trek shorts, says Scott Bartholomew. It's true. Watch my video on the Otoy Star Trek shorts. They're amazing. Yeah, go watch another video on my channel. Not right now, but go do it later. King Tannic sends in a super chat. King Tannic is the biggest Transformers lover I know, other than Az, who I stream with. Az did not like Transformers. King Tannic did. We're old men, me and Az, so don't fret, King Tannic. You're only 21 years old. I haven't asked him. I mean, now that you're 21, do you have a favorite? I know you're probably wholesome to the core, but do you have a favorite liquor? Now that you're 21 and you can drink, I'm always curious because, you don't have a sophisticated palate yet. I mean, do 21... Well, when you're 21, you drink beer and wine coolers.
He has to develop it. He's going to develop it.
Margaritas. He's drinking White Claw. He's out there with his White Claw or some shit like that.
Everyone keeps asking me, when is King Tannic going to do his Transformers review? Everybody is eagerly awaiting his Transformer review. So
I was expecting an Otaku Experience special edition of just his review.
Yes, I'm eager to see it. I want to see his review on Transformers, and not just this movie. I want to see him look at all of the Transformers movies and give us his opinion on them, what makes them great, what makes them not great, whatever he thinks about it. I'm eager to see what his thoughts are on Transformers IP.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to seeing Lana Ewan's. Lana Ewan reviewed David Cronenberg's The Brood this week, which is one of my favorite Cronenberg movies. And it was so funny. I said, what would really be hilarious is if you did a thumbnail that said "Bitches Be Crazy," and they did, and I'm like, should I put it up? They put like a star in the eye where in bitches. I'm like, will somebody get all like aggro if I say "Bitches Be Crazy"?
Bitches be crazy.
But especially in the Brood, like one of the craziest bitches of all time. But if you say that, then people are like, well, Rob, you can't say that women are bitches. But in a way,
but they can say it.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, and if Lana Ewan says it, then it's okay. But I can't wait to see it. So, Scott Bartholomew says, this is interesting. Scott asks a good question. Do you think the Flash multiverse concept is copying the MCU?
No, because honestly, DC did it first.
That's okay. Yeah, the Flash of Two Worlds, the Cosmic Treadmill. I mean, it was the Flash. The
DC did it first.
Introduced the multiverse concept.
Mm-hmm. They definitely, and because you got to rebase. You remember, like they introduced the multiverse concept even back during Crisis of Infinite Earth. You know what I mean? So there was an introduction right there.
Yeah, that was. I mean, the first multiverse thing was in the early 60s.
Yeah.
With Flash and stuff. But that's still an interesting. It's an interesting question. I mean, I think it's odd that they both leaned in to the multiverse concept. I can understand with Flash, it's like, hey, I want to bring back Michael Keaton. And with Flash, they already had the multiverse. And remember, Ezra Miller was on the Flash TV series during their Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline. So,
yeah. Yeah, they definitely. I mean, the comics did it first, and this was a direction that they knew would Flash, in the film, that potentially is where they wanted to go. You know what I mean? As far as here's the thing, it's all about who done it the best, and honestly, who's gotten the multiverse so right and has done it excellently. It's been done in so imaginative and at the same time just perfectly done. Was Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, Across the Spider-Verse, bro. They nailed it. Like they
Nailed it.
nailed it. They nailed it.
And they took the time to put in the numbers for
Mhm.
people like me. And when I
Mhm.
say the numbers, I mean which Earth or
Mhm.
they did that for me. They did that for me.
Mhm.
Thank you
Yeah.
for doing that.
They nailed it. And that's what I'm saying. This is how you get it done. Like that's how you basically do it. You know what I mean? It's sad that after the next film, Lord and Miller is going to step away from it. But still what they've given us, and I think it's this next film is going to be a great crescendo goodbye to the actual franchise and the trilogy itself, and I can't wait just to see it and to know it is coming next March. I'm excited, bro. I'm super excited.
Are
Me,
we are they gonna make another, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Are they gonna make another Spider-Punk 1/6 scale figure? Because I have my
Mm,
Spider-Punk 1/6 scale figure and I don't have that cool,
yeah,
head sculpt that he has in Across the Spider-Verse. So
they might.
yeah, they might.
They
I
might.
mean,
I
They
have to
might.
get the
And you
next
know what? If Hot Toys doesn't do it, damn well be sure that a third party company is going to do it.
so I should look for I should look for all those guys. So someone's
Somebody's going to do it.
did
Somebody
you
is going to end up
see?
doing it.
Did you
really
see?
excited
Yeah,
for it.
someone's in those. I mean, they're going to be making Spider-Man from that movie for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Do you
that
know
I
what?
will get another Spider-Punk
Mm-hmm.
figure.
You know what I ordered? I wasn't going to get this, but I watched Justin's review. I don't even know which Spider-Man it is. I watched the review and I'm like, there's something about it. It's the one where he's in the trench coat.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
and it's a so like special edition.
It's the
Mhm.
night out.
The night out, the night
The
out.
night,
I was like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
fucking love that. I'm like,
yeah,
click. I was watching.
yeah.
I watched Justin's review for like 5 seconds. I'm like, oh, I have to go get that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because that
I
looked.
didn't get it yet,
I
but
haven't gotten it either, but it looks cool.
Yeah, I
yeah,
had to
it
get it.
definitely looks cool. I don't even, you know what? And that's the thing. I don't even have the Spider Punk yet, but I want it.
I never got it either. But it's a great. Those figures like I bought. I
Mhm.
have Scarlet Spider. I have
Yeah,
Spider-Man 2099. I
yeah. I got
have
2099. That 2099 I had to have. I mean that I am such a fan of 2099
me
and
too,
the
and that
Miguel itself.
figure is
Yeah,
great. I don't
it's
know. Are
incredible,
you gonna
man.
get the new one? I don't think I'm gonna get the new one.
No, hell no. I'm the hell no.
Yeah,
Even though I saw the damn film, I'm still not I'm getting the Miles. I'll definitely get the Miles and the Gwen when they release when they actually put the Gwen out. But that is not Miguel O'Hara to me. Like
no,
it looks like a builder figure. I'm definitely not getting
it
it, man.
does. I'm not gonna get that. I
Nah,
love the
bro.
2099
Nah.
figure.
Hell yeah. I love my 2099.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
How cool was did you guys think the well, honestly, how they showed Spider-Punk? Because I didn't know Spider-Punk was going to be in this one. I guess I should have known, but
Yeah.
I was just so impressed with how cool he looked.
It was cool. That
Yeah.
whole animation was so cool.
Yeah, his personality was cool. He was laid back. He was like you might as well say he was like an anarchist. That's who he was.
Yeah,
Like he was
A true punker, a true punk rocker.
hell yeah, but he was super cool and he was down to earth. Yeah, what I mean? So I love that character. It was just it just drew you in. So yeah, definitely. If Hot Toys makes it, then yeah, I will definitely get it. They need to, but they also need to give us villains, man. They don't give us villains from this movie, and I don't know why they don't.
I don't
The
either.
last one they missed it. They missed the plot. If you would have gave us a 6-scale power pose of Kingpin, I would have got it because they look cool on screen.
How
Yeah.
would they do? Obviously the what is he called? Is he called the Hole? What is that character called? The one with the holes? What
Spot.
is he?
Yeah, Spot.
Okay. So would they show a before and after of him? Because I don't know whether Spot would be enough. What would you do? Like, what would?
Yeah, I don't know.
You can, but see, there's so many different things you can actually do with that character. I mean, you can actually create a character that, you can give it a certain effect. And even a character itself, all you would need is the figure in a nice little display, and there
Yeah.
you go.
Well, I really want to get, So Toys is putting out another Wilson Fisk figure. And with the like Aloha shirt and the hat or whatever, I don't want to get that, but I want to get another figure because I want to put the bloody outfit on him so I can display the night. Because it's funny because as I have these Module cases, but when I get more, I'm doing the movie poster display idea where it's a big tableau, and I want to have in the center. Because I have my 3 Thanos figures, and I want to have all the Marvel villains front and center in like a DF 120, and have the whole thing, and then all the other figures are coming at them from the sides and even below, or whatever. And I look at that. I love that Wilson Fisk's. That, you know what? It's not better than the Sam Wilson figure. It's not better than Captain America, but it's up there as far as.
Are you talking about the first version of it?
Yeah,
Like
the first version of it. Yeah,
oh,
dude.
the suit. Yeah, the first, bro. Man, where's he at? I'm sorry. He's over here.
I mean, that shit is dope as fuck.
Yeah. He's over here somewhere because that figure is.
Watch out, your headphone's still attached though. I don't want you to.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Yeah, I got it. He's over here somewhere. I gotta figure out where he's at, but this figure is incredible. Because bro, I haven't even. He's still in the box. He's still in the box, bro. Like he's still right here in the box, bro. But this thing is incredible, bro.
Dude, I've been playing with my third-party Psylocke all day. I don't know. I gotta get her. I just got more stands because she didn't come with a stand.
Yeah.
But I like the Psylocke figure, even though it's third-party. It's pretty good.
This thing is a beast, bro.
Dude, that figure is so dope.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, I almost don't want to put the bloody shirt on him, bro. Like I really don't. But this thing is like a beast, bro. Like he's a hoss, and it just
He's a hoss. Look at that.
Like look at that, bro. Look at this thing. He looks it like just the imagery. It just looks, and it's a heavy beast of a figure,
dude.
bro.
That figure weighs like 20 pounds. It's incredible.
I love this dude.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's definitely a
about
phenomenal
cool.
piece to have. Yeah, definitely, man. It's and he comes with a cane. I'm like, yo, come on.
Well, do you have you have the you don't have the box. You just have the figure.
Well, I had the box.
Oh, do you have the blood splattered head sculpt that you can just show?
Yeah. I have that right here.
I mean, and it comes with. So for those of you who don't know, it comes with the exact same suit, splattered in blood. So that's what I want. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Come on, dude. Wow. Scooch it over. Wait, scooch it. There we go. Come on. Yeah, and imagine that in that all white suit with blood.
Ouch.
Bruh. Here, wait. Hold that up there. Hold that up there. I'm gonna go full frame on you right here, buddy. There you go. Look at
Vincent
that.
D'Onofrio, bro. Look at that, bro. Look at that. That's just him.
I mean,
bro.
that's a fucking great. That's a third party head sculpt too.
Bro, it looks like I'm literally holding someone's head, like a mini version of like. It looks like this cat got Beetlejuice, and now I'm just holding his head, bro. Like literally, like that's how it looks.
He got Beetlejuiced.
Yeah, bro. Like, look at it, man. Like that looks just like Vincent, bro. They nailed it. Bro.
So
they
good.
Nailed it. Yeah, they did such a good job, man.
Beetlejuiced it.
Yeah, bro.
How crazy is it they're making a sequel to Beetlejuice right now?
I can't wait, bro. I love Beetlejuice, bro. I love it so
I love
much.
Beetlejuice.
And I hope we get some figures from it, bro, because I love it that much, bro. I need to get, because I missed out the first time. I will not miss out again, bro. I love Beetlejuice, bro.
It's great.
Have.
Our friend Mario Lopez, all the way from Portugal, is here. Hello, sir. By the way, say hello to your mother for me. Maria Espino is here. She says, hey, Rob, Maria. I demand a studio tour of all your collectibles in a video like ASAP. I want all the details. That's coming. This is still a mess. To be honest, it's still a mess in here. It's not where I want it to be. If I could get all the module cases and moving stuff, I'll give half a tour soon. Half a tour is coming, but yeah, I need because I'm tired of living in this mess. And when we start the panel show, we're starting. Well, I keep saying we're starting. I've been saying we're going to do whining about movies for months, but I got new graphics for it. It's all coming. It's all coming. But yeah, I want to do a studio tour, and I want to finish those Space Battleship Yamato models and stuff. And really, I should put up drywall in here. There's no drywall. It's just a mess. A lot of spiders in here. Don't like that. Don't want to kill the spiders, so I've been using a mixture of white vinegar and water to sort of drive them out. But because I like spiders. I mean, I
don't.
I used to be.
Me and you, they are my arch nemesis, bro. I can't stand spiders.
Well,
bro.
Do you have spiders in your basement? Do they come in your basement?
I've had wolf spiders that actually have been down here. I've had 1,000-leggers that have been down here, even though I haven't seen them in a while, knock on wood. But yeah, it's because it's the basement. Yeah, bro. And that's the thing is I always keep it pesticides and everything, bro.
Well, that's the thing. Like I'm basically in where I'm at. I'm in the Robservatory is really a garage. It's not an observatory. I don't look to the stars as much as I'd like to. It's a garage, and there's a lot like I'm in the woods, sort of, not really, but kind of like on the back half and the side. I'm in, and there's a lot of creatures. There's a lot of woodland creatures that live here, and this garage is old and it has holes in it and stuff. So I've got to fixing it up but there are a lot of spiders in here, and they like being in here. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I've got a lot of these LED lights, and they tend to like weave webs in front of my lights. I'm always using the hand vac, in front of the lights. And as I put more lights in here, more spiders like, ooh, I'm going to be here. So the bugs, because what they're doing is between more colored, as you can see, where I'm sitting, I've got the, of course, the colored, as I've added and made the set look more like a 12-year-old girl's room. There's more colored lights everywhere, and that means more spiders. it's. I used to be I didn't like spiders, but now I'm like kind of like the spiders because all the other bugs that get in here they eat.
Yeah, yeah. But see, the thing is, it's like here.
It's the webbing that gets me down. I'm like, oh man.
Spiders and bats do that.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? So Maria, you're gonna get your wish. I do promise that you're gonna get a tour. Our friend the Jughead, one all the way from the UK, says, "Good morning, Rob. My sister and Lael, looking forward to the Flash.
How you doing?
And I'm taking my nephew to see the new Spider-Verse movie tonight.
Wow.
Love and respect. Right back at you from the UK, guys."
Yeah.
That's very cool. It's so cool when you can take a kid to a movie. As an older person, taking a kid to a movie and exposing them to something that's that they're gonna love, and then to talk to them afterwards and to see, because that's what people did for me when I was a kid. My parents would take me to movies, and they knew I loved movies, and other people would take. My grandfather made it a point. I mean, this is terrible. I've told this story before, but when my grandmother died and my grandfather was alone, we went out with him a lot on the weekends, and I would make him take me to R-rated movies that my parents wouldn't let me see. And my grandfather was not up on it, and it was the summer of 1979. I was 12. Nobody would take me to see Alien. And I'm like, because it had been open for like a week. And it was rated R. I couldn't get in. I'm like, God damn it! Nobody would take me, and I was jumping out of my skin. And so my grandfather takes me and my sister, who's young. My sister was 10 at the time, and my grandfather's like, "So, what do you kids want to do? We'll get some lunch." And I'm like, "I want to go see a movie, Grandpa." And he's like, "What movie do you want to see?" And my grandfather was a very stoic.
Did your granddad sound like Bane? Because you just made him sound like Bane.
No, to crash whole plane. No, my grandfather did not. He's an old Jewish guy.
Rob's Bane. His granddad was Bane.
Well, kids, What do you want to see?
That's funny.
No, I didn't mean to make my grandfather sound like Bane. He was not like Bane. No, he was a great man. My grandfather, he was like, well, kids, what would you like to see today? That was more of my grandfather. And I'm like, I want to see a movie called Alien, Grandpa. And he's like, that sounds great. And we go, and same theater I saw Star Wars in, the UA 150, 6 and Blanchard, downtown Seattle, gigantic screen, domed. I was like, it was when the astronauts were making their way to the derelict alien spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
I was fucking terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it, but I was terrified. But I didn't want my grandfather to know I was terrified. And finally, I had to like get up and I had to take a leak so bad. And I get up, and my sister followed me out, and she goes, "I don't want to watch the rest of this movie." And I'm like, they hadn't even got to the egg chamber in the derelict spacecraft. And she's like, "This is the scariest thing I've ever seen." And I was like, I'm looking at, there's steps when you went, and I just looked at her and I said, "You're gonna watch the rest of this movie, and you're not gonna say anything." And I was more fucking terrified than, I mean, I'm like, even though I was really scared, and I like bought her a candy bar or something, and then we went back up and sat down, and you know, and I could see that my sister was like, she was like curled in and she only and when Jones was threatened, she was like crying, like huge tears, like the cat's gonna die. And I'm like, and by this time I was over my terror. You know, the alien came out, and I was over the chest. After the chest burst scene, I'm like, okay, this is the fucking greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then when the movie was over, my grandfather was just very stoic.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting there, because I like to watch the credits even when I was 12, because I loved hearing the music and everything. And the lights come up, and I could see that my grandfather was contemplating what we had just seen. and I know that because my grandfather was not a movie guy. He did not go to see movies as a man. He was very much business minded and everything, so he didn't see a lot of movies in his life at all. Mm-hmm. And I could see in his face that he was trying to contemplate, like, he didn't even know anything like this existed. Like, he didn't know that you could see an alien creature burst out of a human chest. He didn't know that things could look realistic. And I could see in my grandfather's face that, in a way, he had transcended into a new reality. Because he hadn't seen Star Wars or anything. And I'm his 12-year-old son, and he's got his 10-year-old granddaughter. I'm his grandson, his 10-year-old granddaughter there. And I'm like, and my grandfather knew that I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Like, I was jumping out of he probably knew I was scared. And then I'm like, "Grandpa, what did you think of that? What did you think of Alien?" And my grandfather just looked at me, and he was just, "That was pretty good." That's what my grandfather said. My grandfather saw Alien, and he was trying to process it all, and I could tell I just fucking blew his mind. As a matter of fact, here, I'll go to a full frame.
He's
now,
probably like, "Don't tell your mother."
oh man, you can't see, but these books that are right here on the shelf here, those are all of my grandfather's. So my grandfather never let me touch anything in his den. Mm-hmm. Those are all of his books. It's William Makepeace Thackeray, it's Shakespeare, it's O. Henry, it's Mark Twain. Yes. Those were all of his books when he was at Princeton. In like 1930. Mm-hmm. And I when I was a kid, I'm like, "Oh my God, Stanley Kubrick made Barry Lyndon. It was written by William Makepeace Thackeray. Can I read that book?" And my grandfather's like, "No." He would never let me take these books. He wouldn't let me touch these books. Mm-hmm. And when he passed away, and I love my grandfather, he was 98 years old. He passed away. Actually, no, he was 97 when he passed away. And in Palm Springs, I was there. I was holding his hand when he actually passed.
Wow, bro.
And and we finally went back to his house in Seattle. He died here in Palm Springs or in Rancho Mirage. Not here. I don't live in Palm Springs, but when we went back to his house in Seattle that I'd gone to since I was born. I remember my mom and I are in his house, and no one's ever going to come back there again. And we're looking around, and my mom's like, if there's anything you want here, you're welcome to just take it. And I go, oh yeah. I want all of Grandpa's books that are in his den. And my mom's like, wait, you want his books? I go, yeah, I want his books. And he had an illustrated, it's right over there, an illustrated 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea from like 1914.
Wow.
Jules Verne. And that was the thing I wanted the most. And he wouldn't even let me touch it.
He wouldn't?
No, and I took it out, and I'm in his den. It was a little den. I'm in his den, and it was all these books on this shelf. And my mom's like, why do you want these books? I'm like, Mom, it's Mark Twain. It's Shakespeare. It's William Makepeace Thackeray. It's O. Henry. These are Grandfather's books. He never let me touch them. He would never let me touch them. He wouldn't let me read them. I mean, I think when he passed away in 2008. So I was like, I don't remember how old I was. I was in my 40s or whatever. I'm like sitting there like some kid who just did something wrong. And I'm like, I'm going to take all of these books. Anyway, I love my and I have them. They're right here. So my grandfather lives on. I take these books everywhere. They mean a lot to me because my grandfather had great taste. He had all these great, like O. Henry's great. Anyway, people are like, I don't even know if anyone's watching this stream still. But it's true.
Still here. Look, the gang's still here, Robert.
The gang is still here. So Jughead, this was all. It's great that you're taking your nephew to see Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
We'll definitely enjoy it. It's going to be a great movie experience for him. Definitely. And for you as well.
Oh my God. Okay, Alex Detman. So Alex Detman has a young ward. A young charge. He's got a child named Marcel. And now, hang on, there's so much crap on my desk now, but so Marcel and Alex had modified 3 3/4 inch action figures for me. And now there's so much stuff on this, I'm looking for them. But they'd done Predator, RoboCop. I can't get to them because there's so much crap on my desk, but they're here. They, so Marcel was 9. He might be 10 now. I'm not sure. And he did a Predator figure for me from the new movie. He's great. And so he said in this, they had asked me if you could get action figures, like with something you don't have, what would you want? And I said, Logan's Run. No one ever made Logan's Run action figures. So Alex Detman says, Rob, Marcel wanted you to know that you will have your Logan's Run figures by Tuesday the 13th.
Wow.
And we believe you will love them. Mmmm and Lael, you guys are always the shit.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
I mean, I know you've got my new address. I cannot tell you. So I bought a lot of action figure stands and display stuff. Now I got to get some stands for those 3 3/4 figures because I want to do a shelf of all of Marcel's figures. One of the things I'm going to do is when people have sent me a lot of artwork and stuff, and I want to imagination connoisseurs. I want to have kind of a shrine to everyone's creative endeavors that I have. But let me just tell you, to get Logan's Run action figures would be a lifelong dream. Lifelong dream. Alan Ling says, will they definitely make Will they definitely make a Spider-Gwen hot toy for Across the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Definitely. Well, the Spider-Gwen figure for Into the Spider-Verse was awesome.
Yeah, they have the prototype for it. They've already shown it. They just haven't released it yet. They had it at Secret Base, but they just haven't released it yet. It's been part of all the promo photos and everything.
I love the Miles and the Gwen figures they did. All that backing and all that stuff. Those are great figures.
They're beautiful pieces to have in your collection.
Really cool. I mean, really, really cool. So, I mean, to be honest, wouldn't the Spider-Gwen be kind of the same?
It would be the same figure. I think this one comes with a jacket, but
Oh,
they haven't shown the actual head sculpt yet. So I don't know, because her hair is going to be exactly the same. It's the same way it was in
yeah,
the film. It's just that these two are more mature characters. We just got to kind of wait and see how they do it. So
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
because those are great. Thomas Logan says, I have 6 Hot Toys figures on pre-order, including the Keaton Batman from The Flash, but I cannot in good conscience buy an Ezra Miller figure. I don't think Sideshow, BBTS, or Pop Culture should carry or sell the figure. Now, I would say this to you, Thomas. I completely understand your position. However, I would say that there's been a lot of research done. I was always wondering, why was Warner Brothers so adamant about supporting Ezra Miller through all of this? And I think that there's a lot. I mean, I'm not saying he's absolved of responsibility, but I think a lot of what Ezra Miller was involved in was misreported and blown out of proportion. And there's a lot of people that have been doing some really good research into that. I know, because I've retweeted some of that and I've read a lot of it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So all I can say is Warner Brothers, I mean, obviously they have a lot of money sunk into the movie, and you always have to vote with your conscience. So I would never tell anybody what they should or shouldn't believe.
Yeah.
But I do think, after reading, I'm not saying that Ezra Miller is a saint or has not done any of these things but a lot of the things that I thought they did, apparently what was reported was not what actually happened.
It was missing. Yeah.
And I would say that it's worth looking into. That's all I would say.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of, again, there's, media pundits and stuff like that will put their own spin on the story just to make it sound more interesting, and that's what sells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how it is, for whoever it is, whatever actor, whatever pundit, that's what they do. You know what I mean? Now look, some of the stuff that he might have actually done, again, I always say I wasn't there. I don't know. So I can't really draw my own. I can't basically, I can have an opinion, but at the same time, it's just like, if I don't know the facts, I'd rather not speak on it. If I don't know what really happened, I'd rather not speak on it. Me, myself, when I collect, I separate the characters and the character that's being portrayed from the actor, because I know I want the representation of that character.
Me too.
Just the character, what the actor does, because it's just like this. Okay, we know what's going on with Jonathan Majors right now. All speculation, nothing has actually been proven. We just know based off of what's been spun in the media. Am I going to deny myself that figure because of it? No, because I love the figure. It looks great. I've always wanted a Kang. Am I basically supporting the actor? No. Am I basically saying that actor is squeaky clean, either him or Ezra Miller? No, I'm not, because I wouldn't condone those actions. And if it's true and prove it in court, then here you deserve to get what whatever's coming to you, you deserve 100%. But at the same time, if it's not been proven, if you haven't had your day in court, and if I don't know yet, if I don't know the facts, I can't draw my own conclusion, because I don't trust the media. I just don't.
Well,
I just
and also,
really don't.
especially when it comes to celebrity reporting, everything is so sensationalized, and there's been a lot of debunking and a lot of some really good reporting from people. And again, I'm not defending Ezra Miller.
I'm definitely not defending. I just know that I don't trust. Look, if he did that shit, and it's a lot of stuff that they're saying that he did, then he deserves exactly what he gets. Both of them do. Because you don't put your hands on women, and I don't like that. No matter who you are, you don't put your hands on women. But I will basically say that. With that being said, that's half of Hollywood. They just haven't been exposed yet.
Right, but there's a lot of really interesting reporting that's gone on with this situation. So I'd say look into it.
Yep, look into it and just let it be that. Look into it, view it for yourself, plain and simple. But at the same time, if you don't want and that's not me saying no, you should get the figure. No, don't. If you basically have morals, you stand firm on those morals and don't do it. Do not get the figure if you don't want to get it. All I'm saying is do the research on the person yourself, and don't let the media spin it, because sometimes they will. they'll spin it because again, that's what sells. So that's all I'm saying. That's why it was smart. It was crazy because they said they're inviting him to the screening, the red carpet screening, but he's not talking to the press. He's not talking to anyone.
Which I think is, you know what? Because it would overshadow. First of all,
Exactly.
this
film.
movie was made by 1,000 people.
Mhm.
Andy Muschietti stuck with
Yep.
it. You know,
Yep.
Sasha Calais,
Yep.
or however you pronounce her last name, she's amazing in the film.
Yep.
You know, and all the people that worked on that movie, all the technicians, all the crew, the cast, everybody, they deserve a celebratory moment because
Hell yeah.
they had to wait. This movie was delayed so many times. They tried to make this movie for so long. And I really had fun with this movie.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it, bro. I really can't wait
It's
to
just
see it.
fun. It put a big smile on my face, you know?
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I definitely can't wait to see it.
Bert, this is hilarious. Bert sends in a tip. By the way, people ask about tips. There's a tip link in the description. You can always leave a tip if you want. It's different than a super chat. Bert Tips says, while your power was out last weekend, someone hacked your Twitter account where they surreptitiously tweeted the Clavillas and Cole song A Deeper Love. Surprisingly, they also accurately labeled it as house music. I hope this did not damage your brand. Oh, Bert, you cheeky bastard. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there was a group, CNC Music Factory,
Yep.
and then Clavillas and Cole did a song called Pride in the Name of Love, A Deep Love. And now the original version had Aretha Franklin sing on the track, and that's the version that I tweeted. Because it's Pride Month, I tweeted it out. And what people, here's the thing, like, I grew up with a lot of LGBT friends, LGBT, not T, but LGB friends. And a lot of the time, I had a group of friends where I was the token straight dude. It's like, we're going to see the Madonna's Who's That Girl tour, right? I'm like, yes, we are. Because that's why I call myself gay adjacent. I've never been afraid of any of that. And I just had, if you work in the arts, and especially Seattle had a very vibrant, large gay community, and the gay community and the film community were frequently part of the same community. So as long as people are getting laid, I think one of the problems with the modern age is they're not fucking. They're not fucking as much as we were fucking. And I don't care. As long as you're fucking, and I don't care who you are, as long as it's good, as long as your partner knows what to do to you and you know what to do to your partner, and it's all consensual, great. So anyway, I did, in fact, Bert, no one hacked my account. I tweeted this song, but I will say, I think this song, A Deeper Love, is an incredible tune. Now, there's multiple versions of it. And it is a house track. And thank you for appreciating the fact that I knew it's a house track. Look, a lot of people don't know. We've had conversations about music on this show.
Yeah.
I'm a huge music fan, and I know the two of you are as well. But there is a version of A Deeper Love that is more of a techno version that I really, really love. And it was released as a CD single. But as a matter of fact, I will put the version of the song, not the one that I tweeted, but I'll put the version of the song that I really love in the chat so you can see it yourself, because this is a banger. I mean, this is a banger dance track. So here's the version I'm talking about. I just put it in the live chat. It's really, really, really good. But that's not the one I tweeted, the one where Aretha Franklin is front and center. I love this song, and every time Pride Month rolls around, I think about it, and I tweeted it out, and I was like, I love this version. I love this song. So, no, Bert, nobody hacked my account. I did that on my own because I love this track. I think it's a great track. Anonymous says, this is actually Stubble McShave. He says, some words of wisdom here from Stubble. Or maybe it wasn't Stubble. Maybe he's paraphrasing. It says Anonymous, so maybe it wasn't Stubble. Some words of wisdom here from Stubble concerning the Fast and the Furious movies. Car chases are like boobs. When they're obviously fake, it's a turnoff for me. I prefer the real thing. I guess It's a question about authenticity. Well, okay, if that's words of wisdom from Stubble, who am I to argue? I mean, I tend to look. I feel kind of the same way. I love breasts of all shapes, sizes, small breasts, large breasts, athletic breasts. I'm a dude. I get to see breasts since I was a little kid. I'm having a good day.
Yeah.
I know girls think of breasts. I mean, areolas, nipples, all breasts. Even the old woman in The Shining that gets out of the bathtub. You know, she's
Just
like,
look down. You know
Well,
that.
you know,
When
men
you were
have
talking about it just now.
too.
Just look down. It's like, oh, I have
No,
them.
I'm just saying
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
too. So that's the flip side. But you're right. I think breasts are beautiful too. As someone who has them, I'm all for them. Like I'm
look,
fine with it.
the real question
Hey.
is, as a man, you have to learn how to work the breast.
Hey,
You have to learn, don't you? You have to learn how to touch it, caress it. You have to learn how to put your mouth on a breast and draw your breath in, maybe a little bit of a nibble, but not too much. Circle the areola counterclockwise with your tongue. You got to figure that shit out.
I think it is the breast does need stimulation for those people who like to have their nipples stimulated. I think that's great. I think it's wonderful.
But the entire breast, it's a holistic approach. Don't just start with the nipple. Work your way up. Learn how to caress. Learn how to caress, man. You got to learn.
This is going to sound really crazy, right? I just have this crazy thought in my head, like walking through somewhere like Italy or France or something like that, right? Just occasionally getting up for like a coffee or whatever, and I'm just walking, and just suddenly looking up to a balcony and seeing in all white linen with her hair billowing. I just had this crazy thought with her hair billowing, bro. You know, like how they stand, like this like the form of a woman when she's standing and she just letting her hair just billow backwards while she just standing there brushing her hair in slow motion. I just had this crazy thought. Sorry, it happens.
I think it's a fantastic thought.
See, she's letting it billow now. She got the face. She turned it there. she turned the fan on now. It just wow. Wow. Oh man. That was funny. She still got it. Oh man, wow.
Look at what
with some
Stubble's
bossa nova music playing in the background. Oh yeah, that's funny.
Bert, by the way, goes on to say, spoiler free as this is seen in the Super Bowl movie trailer, Transformers Rise of the Beasts is set in 1994. But why is there a 1997 Christopher Wallace song, Hypnotize, featured in it? What happened to verisimilitude with regards to music and movies? Okay, I got to tell you, that drives me crazy. It's little Stranger Things. They play fast and loose at the period. Yeah. I have to say, I was a little. Have you guys seen Air? About the Nike Air Jordan? Yeah. Fucking great movie.
Loved it. Yeah.
It's a great movie, and one of my favorite things of the year is when the first Air Jordan is revealed. They actually play. I couldn't believe this when I was watching this. They actually play when it's revealed. It's Pino Donagio's score. Pino Donaggio, the composer. It's from his score to Brian De Palma's movie Body Double. You know, it's like la.
Yeah.
And I've always liked Ben Affleck, but the fact that Ben Affleck picked that piece of music, because Body Double came out in 1984, but almost in the same scene, they used a piece of Tangerine Dream score from Risky Business. Now, Risky Business came out a year before in 1983. Now, it's okay that they use that. However, all the little references, like you saw the stuff at the beginning of the movie was like 84. They did such a good job. And the fact that he used Body Double from 84, I'm like, oh my God. And it just bothered me that he used a piece of music. I mean, the movie had come out, so it shouldn't bother me, but The fact that they use Pino Donaggio's score from Body Double for that reveal moment. First of all, that piece of music they use is amazing.
Mhm.
The fact that Ben Affleck, I don't know if he picked it or his music supervisor did, whoever picked it, the fact that that's what they used shows that there was a lot of thought. That movie might be my
amazing.
favorite movie of the year so
It's
far.
amazing. It's an amazing film, bro.
And-
Just to know that, you know, historically, the pieces that they took from it, the conversations that they had, how influential his mom was
Okay, can we
to
talk?
his life.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up. Can we talk? First of all, Viola Davis, the word
Yeah, bro.
queen is not even good enough for her. And by the
Yeah,
way,
bro.
do you know that that's her real husband in real life that
Yeah.
plays?
Yeah.
I mean, those two, maybe not Viola Davis. She scared the fuck out of me in that movie. But because I wouldn't cross her. But the two of them, like he's not even an actor, you know, and he was so good in that movie. But one of my favorite things in any movie this year is when she's talking to, you know, like Matt Damon's like, this is so great. And she's like, and of course he's going to get proceeds from the sale of every single shoe. You know, and watching her do this, because it was Michael Jordan himself that said, you have to get Viola Davis to play my mom in this movie. And of course, Ben Affleck's like, oh, well, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, Viola Davis can like do no wrong.
Wrong, bro.
Every
She's brilliant.
time you put, she is
She's
so
brilliant.
good in this movie. Like
brilliant.
she's so good. And it's like, I got to tell you, you know, here's the difference between Black America and white America. Moms. I look at Viola Davis and I'm like, no one crosses this woman.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't even go outside if she told me not to.
No, I mean, it
Literally.
was, I think it's a subset of American culture. The black mother, the strength of the black mother is one of my favorite. I mean, you could call it a story trope, but whenever you see it employed correctly, it makes me wish I had a black mom. No offense, Nancy. I love my mom. But when I see someone like Viola Davis come out and I'm like, this is like, who doesn't want her to be your mom? Like, in terms of a mom who's going to protect you beyond a shadow of a doubt, she was so great.
She was amazing.
And the
bro.
way she just kind of tosses off, and he will get from a percentage of every sale, right? And Matt Damon's like, well, that's not really the way things are, how it's done in the thing, blah, 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 blah. And she's just calm and cool and collected. And I'm like, man, she's the greatest mom of all time. And that was proven by how much money Michael Jordan made off the Air Jordans. I loved her so much.
Right now. Yeah, bro.
I mean, you know, because I fall in love with actors and the characters they portray. And I've always loved Viola Davis. But it was because nobody could have played that character the way. That's why Michael Jordan himself knew. Michael Jordan himself said, of all the actors you could get, he could have said Angela Bassett. He did not. And I love Angela Bassett.
Viola Davis.
He said Viola Davis. And I'm like, can you imagine, like, you're talking to Michael Jordan, and when he tells you that, he's like E.F. Hutton. People don't remember this, but there was a company called E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton talks, you listen.
If it talks, people listen.
When Michael Jordan tells you who is going to play his mother, there's no wiggle room. You don't go, well, do it. No.
It
You
was
have to
like
do
that same scene replayed in the movie. Like she and like her being Michael Jordan and Matt Damon being, you know, yeah, it was the same scene. Like it's like, because the thing is, it's like when you say, "Oh yes," it's like Michael Jordan saying, "You know what? Yes, you have my blessings to do this film. Yes, but you have to have Viola Davis play my mom." Shit.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure but it's so funny because, like, you could tell. I mean, I love seeing an actor or an actress love the part they're playing. How must it be if you're an actress and you know that the person who you're making the film about has said, you have to play my mom? Like, There's no other, as an artist, for an artist to hear that. Because actors are insecure people. Even I'm sure Viola Davis is insecure. But
very much so,
for
bro.
Viola Davis to hear that Michael Jordan said, "You have to play my mom." I mean, I haven't seen an interview with Viola Davis, but if I ever met her, I'd love to sit down with her one day and interview her. If I talked to her, that'd be the first question I asked.
You know what you got to watch her, bro? You have to, you have to watch Viola Davis on Hot Ones, bro.
I didn't even know she was on. Oh my God.
You got to watch.
Oh, is that a
the
new
epi-
one? Is that new?
Bro, it was a few months back.
Okay,
it
but
was
it's
a few months back. You have to watch it, bro. You gotta watch. It's the funniest shit.
I haven't watched Hot
Yeah.
Ones in months, and I love Hot Ones. Those
I
are
always watch the one with it was her, the one with Idris Elba. That was incredible. Daniel Kaluuya, he did one as well.
I saw that one.
Zoe Saldana, that was funny too because she was pissed. But yeah, you gotta watch. But the one with Viola Davis, bro, yeah, you gotta watch it. It was crazy.
Oh
I
my
loved it.
God. I love her so much. And
Yeah,
she was so good in that movie. You know what's so great? Because she brings forth, like when she first sits down with Matt Damon, and Matt Damon like tells her, here's what they're going to say to you. When she wants to know, like, what is it about my son?
Yeah.
And he tells her that he's going to be great. He's going to be. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I
bro.
love that movie. That movie is so uplifting. And it's so and to know, it's really interesting about Ben. So Ben Affleck is who directed, but he's also playing Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. Well, Phil Knight is the father of Travis Knight. Travis Knight directed Bumblebee. And Travis Knight created Leica Studios that made Kubo and the Two Strings. So Phil Knight used his immense wealth to give his son. I mean, his son wanted to be a DJ, and like Travis. And I got to sit down with Travis Knight once and interview him before Bumblebee came out, and he was just the nicest guy. And I kept
like it, bro.
I
He
kept
seems
looking
like
at him, going, "Man, you made Kubo and the Two Strings, dude. You made." Clearly, he had a real love for it, and he's somebody that took his wealth, his immense wealth, and his father, and did something. Didn't just he created Leica Studios, and they've kept the stop motion alive. And people always rip on the wealthy, and I get it, I understand, but watching that movie air, because Nike, everybody. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in like a room with a printed out poster on his wall that said Amazon. Everybody, these are self-made people. And Viola Davis, that mom, man, that mother might be a trope, say what you want. I'm just saying. I think everybody would watch that movie and think, I want Viola Davis to be my mother.
bro, especially for somebody like her to, because the thing is, it's like she could have easily, and even his mom could have as easily stood down and said, you know what? Okay, well, just bend. No, there was no bending. Either if you want my son that bad,
But
then this
also,
is what he wants.
she was also, you could deal with her. She wasn't like, I've seen so many people torpedo deals.
Yeah.
She was very, obviously it was her portrayal. I was on her side the entire time. I was on Matt Damon's side too, but it was like, I was on Viola Davis' side. I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
I've watched it like 3 times. That movie is, talk about a feel-good movie where everybody comes out right. And I know there's going to be cynics like, well, okay, Mikey's now using child labor, whatever. I understand all that. I get it. I do. But the idea of people with dreams, and the fact that Matt Damon's character saw greatness when they show that great scene where he's looking at the tape of Michael Jordan making that, and he analyzes the whole scene. Like, they gave the ball to him because people are underestimating Michael Jordan, but they knew. And that's that great scene when he analyzes it and when he explains why he went. I'm like, oh, I fucking love this movie. I love this movie. It's so good.
Killed it, bro. I loved it. I loved everything about that film, bro. Like, it just, it like you said, it's such a feel good film. And I just love, when they do, biopics of a person's life, bro. Like and or how something was made and
Yeah.
how beautiful the shoe looked in
Oh.
general.
Well, and
Bro,
how you see all those, like this one guy, it's like making shoes was his life.
bro,
Great.
those J1s, bro, like
Well, and you
that-
collect sneakers, right?
bro, that's why I watched the damn movie 5 times. I watched it 5 times, and it partially just to look at that scene, bro. Like it was just like it was the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful shoe I have ever seen, bro. Like the Jordan ones, the classic J1s OG. Oh my god, bro! Like to have them in your hand and this to smell them fresh outside the box, bro. It's a religious experience, bro. Like it's straight up, it is. The thing is, bro, 2 things kill me in life right now. As far as my hobbies, sneaker collecting and just collecting here in general. When it comes to figure collecting, like it's a terrible space to be in. And then when you have a woman who does the same damn thing, it just hurts. So yeah, bro. Yeah. It's bro. I'm pretty sure we got some sneakers collectors out there in the chat right now, and they can just understand what I'm. It's nothing, but we talk about taking figures outside the box. It is nothing like opening up a fresh pair of Jordans and pulling them outside the box, and you smell that brand new shoe. You don't even want to put it on. You just like, this was Jesus just now. Like literally, bro. I just love the smell of a brand new pair of J1s, Jordan 1s, Jordan 3s, the Bugs Bunnies, bro. I need the 11s, the bread 11s, bro. Like literally, like Jordans have been the bane of my existence, bro, because I love them so much. It's crazy.
Wow, I learned something new about people every day. Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen.
Bro.
Now, what I loved about, so first of all, now we have, what's really interesting is they used to talk about like there was similar, like there was Deep Impact and Armageddon. There was Volcano and Dante's Peak. What's really interesting is now we have 3 movies, and there's a 4th one, I forget what it is, but we've got Tetris, Air, and Blackberry. And they're all about the creation of these ideas and the people that made them. And they're totally compelling because they're kind of inherently uplifting in that people had an idea that they were able to execute. Like Blackberry, the decline of Blackberry is a little depressing, but it did sweep the world for a while. It was like all in the tech world, Tetris and Air, they're all inherently kind of uplifting because it's about people who have ideas. Like I love the fact that at the end of Air, the guy that actually made the shoe, when he had the idea to take the picture of Air Jordan and turn it that logo,
Turn it into a logo, bro.
and I love that guy because that guy obviously he was portrayed. I don't know if he had certain physical difficulties in his real life, but that actor was so good at portraying like he loved shoes.
Yeah, bro.
He loved making shoes. It was
So, hey Rob, can you guess what the logo would be if Nike decided to make some Air Mmms?
Oh yeah, it would be a face with hair.
With hair billion. And it would probably be like the 3D reflective that if you move it back and forth, you can see the hair kind of billion.
I love it. And sparkly earrings.
And sparkly hair, totally. So good. So good. So Hitchcock is the GOAT says, "Hey, love you guys. It's been a while. I love the smart breakdowns on this show. My final original Ian Fleming James Bond novel, Octopussy and the Living Daylights, just arrived today. It's been a 2-month quest to get them all before they become unavailable."
Nice.
Well, for those, I've been banging on about the editing of The French Connection, and they're rewriting Roald Dahl and James Bond. I mean, it's so funny because in GoldenEye, the 1995 Pierce Brosnan Bond film where he's introduced as Bond, when M says, "You're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. You're a product of the Cold War." I mean, she says it out. She says it. The James Bond novels were written in the 50s, pre-civil rights by a Brit, and like I raised a Jew. I've experienced a lot of anti-Semitism in my life. My family, the Schoenfeld Gardner Foundation built a temple, a chapel at Temple D. Hirsch in Seattle that was vandalized not too long ago. I mean, you know, and here's the thing. Are we going to try and go back and erase all of human history and pretend like it was all good all the time? We are terrible people. We are
This is
racist,
true.
misogynist fucks. But at the same time, we can do great things.
This is true. This is true.
And it's like, if we're going to try and go back and scrub all of human history, and like I said this on a piece that dropped on the channel, I did a piece on the French Connection. You know, we live in a horrible universe where our sun can go nova and destroy the entire human race. I mean, we have to toughen up, man. We have to toughen up, and we have to be mature enough to know that 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, things were not good. And we have to be able to learn to. That's what adults, real mature adults, do. We can discuss bad things and have conversations about them without freaking out and decide and scrub history.
It's getting applied to everything, though. Have you not noticed they can use it to apply to any situation? For example, what if all of a sudden entertainment tastes change and they say nobody wants to talk about movies or television anymore? You know, it becomes passe. They don't want to do that. So then you go back into every single video that you see where we're talking about movies and television, and they're like, we need to get rid of these. This is not the right thing that we should be talking about now. You know, I think it's horrendous, the notion of deciding just because it's not what some people are doing right now, or they want to focus on that, they're trying to prioritize it for everybody. It's not a decision you can make for every person. The individual has to decide what they're going to do in those situations. But to make it across the board, you know, that's not ideal, and it's not going to work. I think there are going to be people who will never support that, but there's this desire to go ahead and put an individualistic idea across the board for everybody. It's not going to work. I mean, entertainment is supposed to have outliers and different types of points of view. So I'm not quite sure how that. I've got to go back and fix everything that I think is wrong. Let me make a list of what's wrong in here. You could do that until you don't even have a film anymore.
Well,
you don't even have anything that's viewable anymore.
No, I that's what I've often said on the channel. Like, if someone goes back and gets my Amazon buy list of everything I've bought over the last 25 years from Amazon, I would get locked up. You know, people would be like, well, how come you're buying, you know, why do you buy? And why are you asking my taste in film? Like, why, if I want to watch, and I watch a lot of different kinds of movies. And it's like what somebody actually said to me on Twitter, and I said this in the video. They said, "Oh, do you have to hear when the French Connection was censored? Do you have to hear the N-word one more time?" And I'm like, would you take Spike Lee's one of the great scenes, one of the most iconic scenes in American movies, is the scene in Do the Right Thing, where Mookie is talking to John Turturro, when Spike Lee's talking to John Turturro, and he says, you know, who's your favorite basketball player? Oh, Michael Jordan. Who's your favorite musician? Prince. And he's like, no, Bruce. No, it's Prince or whatever. And they have a conversation about race and using that word. And then after that scene, it's a great scene. But then there's a scene where the camera rushes into all these different ethnic people, and they all use
slurs.
all these slurs. And it's like, are you going to tell me that you want to take? I mean, Do the Right Thing is one of the great iconic American films of the late 80s, made by a black filmmaker, a self-made black filmmaker, and it's a crowning achievement. Mm-hmm. Are you going to start telling me that because of certain language in it, you're going to edit that movie? And also, the whole point is about not being racist and showing that all cultures belong. And, you know, it's a movie about inclusion. It used to be that we were talking about these things before the last 10 years, but it seems like everyone now they're not mature enough to have conversations without screaming, yelling, going, words are violence. I can't listen to this.
Well, another part in that film, of course, as you both know, at the end, or not, maybe not the exact end, but it's used again, and it has to be used at that point in the film in order for it to have the meaning in the context.
Yeah.
It's critical that it's used at that moment
And
where
if you strip it away, if you strip that away, like, and for people who have actually seen it, right? You strip that away, you edit the film, you take those things out that you think are shameful, harmful, or disrespectful to a culture, then you're losing the meaning of what that film really meant. And somebody's going to remind you. So then what's happened? Two things are going to happen. One is that you lose the feel of what that movie was supposed to provide and what the message that he was trying to get out there. But two, once you do that, then you're drawing more attention to it because somebody who's seen that film is going to say, yo, well, why did you take such and such out? So then it's going to cause people to go back and dig to try to find out what was actually said, what was in the movie, why did you edit it? So why not just leave it alone? I mean, it is what it is. Like, there's like, when we look at those films and I look at those films back, it's far worse now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Right now, it is far worse now. So you're basically trying to protect yourself from, or just censor certain things from films when it's far worse now. Like, I will honestly say that it is far worse. Some of the stuff that's going on right now, and not just in film, but just in reality and society right now, is terrible.
Well, we were on a good path. We were evolving. Things like same-sex marriage, it was evolving. But now when you have people like, look, when I was a kid in elementary school, I was not aware of, no one was talking about sexuality. We had sex education where we actually learned the mechanics of how babies are made. It was a big deal. They separated the boys and the girls. 5th and 6th grade, you learned all these things. No one was talking about sexuality. We just learned the mechanics of biology. And I liked it like that. It was fine. We weren't. And now you have teachers bringing their own gender issues into classrooms. Kids need to be allowed to develop and understand these things on their own. There's no reason why we have to accelerate as a culture. We don't need kids to understand or even know about sexuality. Let them develop it on their own. And yet nowadays people want to force all of this stuff. Like when I was a kid, I was watching Star Trek. I was playing with Legos. I was pretty unaware of anything to do. I mean, I was just trying to make I needed to do well in school. You got to allow kids to develop on their own. We can't as adults and all these ideologues now want to impose their ideas on let children be children. Just let them be children. Let them develop on their own. Why bring these discussions? They don't even know what you're talking about. They have no idea. And it's a weird, like you said, it's a weird time. And I think everyone used to understand, when kids become adults, it's different. But nowadays we want to treat children, let childhood live. Let childhood innocence live as long as it can.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is very interesting is that there are more people who are vocal about using that word nowadays. And what was interesting about when Spike Lee was doing this was that Spike Lee, in let's say Do the Right Thing, he had to have the incident that would drive the character to say the word in an offensive way. So that was critical because for quite some time, not all the time, but for quite some time, there's denial about the usage or the frequency of usage of the word in a derogatory manner. And so you got to see, there was like this critical moment where you saw it. But Spike Lee also made a film called School Days. And what was interesting about that film is that it's used profusely in that film as well. And it's also an analysis of, the students kind of maybe losing control a little bit. And then they kind of realize, like, we don't really want to be like this. We want to improve ourselves and be the best that we can be. And they do. That's something that I think was a great theme in both of them at the end of those films, where everybody who was in there who was using that word came to that conclusion. It was wonderful that he decided to take perspectives that perhaps people were seeing but didn't pay attention to. You were forced to pay attention to it. It was beautiful the way he did. It was very natural. You felt like you were at that school or on that street in Brooklyn. You felt like you were standing on the curb
Because
watching that.
it's jargon that's basically used in its reality. So he was giving you the reality of the time, and that's what it's all about. And people, it's like, again, I understand the attempt, and I understand where people feel as though, well, we need to change the narrative. We need to divert ourselves from using whether it's derogatory or just such language that really disgraces a culture. I get that, but at the same time, okay, let's push the needle forward for modern times and what's going on right now instead of changing things, because those things in the past sometimes need to be revisited so you understand how far we've come. Like,
Well,
literally.
and that's the thing. We have come far, and what's really
Yeah.
interesting is I think we were the 2000s. I thought we were on a pretty great path. We
Yeah,
were
we
on a
were.
natural evolutionary path, and now there are a lot of people that that have hijacked. Look, I think the real problem is, and it's not a popular opinion, our culture has become insanely narcissistic. Part of the reason is because right now we have all these venues where everyone's become the star of their own reality show. And so that's why people talk about virtue signaling and all this. Everybody wants to be, I understand the idea of trying to be a good person and standing up for the beliefs of others. But what people are doing now is they're not allowing, everybody has to explore, whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, whether you're Republican, Democrat, whatever. People need to be given the time to explore on their own and become who they are. And
Choose.
Absolutely. And now you have we have the society that all these people, these crusaders that want to make everyone into who they are, and they all believe that their way is the right way. And I'm like, one of the great things about being a human being is experiencing life. And at any moment, your opinions can be changed. You meet somebody that touches your life. You might meet somebody. I'll tell you a story. Yesterday, I went to lunch at by myself. I went to lunch at a place, a burger joint, upscale burger joint. And I was sitting in the bar where I usually sit. And there was an older woman sitting next to me. And as I am wont to do, I strike up a conversation with total strangers. And this woman told me a story about how her husband has passed away, and her son is married to a woman, and had to go in for a biopsy and might have breast cancer. They don't know the answer. And I'm hearing this story from her. Now, there is a Indian reservation that's close to Indian land that's close to where we live in San Bernardino. And they have a great venue. A lot of great bands play at this venue. It's called Yamava, and it's a casino. It's awesome. And there's a road. Actually, there are two roads. If you drive down the 10 freeway, the Christopher Columbus Transcontinental Freeway, they haven't changed that name yet, but I'm sure it's coming. But on the road, there are two roads next to each other. There is Waterman Avenue, and there is Tippecanoe. When we moved out here, every time I drive by, I'm like, did Tippecanoe happen because the waterman wasn't a good waterman? And it's an Indian reservation, and I'm like, it's Tippecanoe and Waterman Avenue, and depending on which direction you're traveling, in my mind, it's why is it called Tippecanoe? Because some idiot who was paddling tipped the canoe over, and then the next road is Waterman Avenue. Now, in my own mind, I've thought this was hilarious because depending on which direction you go, you come to Waterman first and then Tippecanoe. So somebody thought they were a great waterman, and then the next road over, they tipped the canoe. This woman, I asked her, I said, so what do you do? And she works for a grocery store company called Stater Brothers in their main office. And she says to me, she goes, yeah, I've worked for this office for 35 years. I work off Tippecanoe Avenue. And I said, oh my God, I've got to ask you this question. I said, I don't know the answer, but who named Waterman Avenue and Tippecanoe? You got the Indian reservation right up the street across the 210. It has to have. There's got to be some great Indian story about how the waterman tipped the canoe over. And she looks at me. And she's thinking about what I'm saying, and this woman, she's probably 65, 70. Actually, she's very attractive. She starts laughing her ass off, like guttural, like and she goes, I have never ever thought of that.
Thought about that, yeah.
And I'm like, I think about it every single day. I think about Tippecanoe and Waterman Avenue. I'm like, some motherfucker did this. They came up with this name. And no, everyone thinks I'm crazy. Like, no, I'm like, how can you not see that? It's Tippecanoe. It says Tippecanoe, and then the next street's Waterman Avenue. How can you not pull those two things together? And I'm like, it's got to be some Indian name. Somebody is pulling a prank. And she was laughing, and I said to her, I go, you're never not going to be able to see that now. You're going to think about that. And she said, and the funny thing was, it's not like I'm going to get some number of some rando 65-year-old woman I meet in a restaurant. I wouldn't do that. Although actually that would be something I would do, but not for the reasons you might think. I want to follow up because she told me, she goes, she laughed so hard and so loud in the restaurant. And she's like, I've been going there for 35 years and I never, ever, ever made that connection. And she goes, and I go, you're never going to be able to unsee it, but I want to know what her coworkers thought. Like, I was almost going to be like, you got to text me tomorrow.
You got to tell me.
You can't. I just want to know because Waterman Avenue or Tippecanoe and Waterman. And everyone thinks people thought I was nuts. She was the first person that laughed and thought, I get what you're saying. I don't know why I'm telling.
The names right there tell you, bro.
And they're the next streets.
Exactly.
Somebody thought, and I it has to be, there has to be like an indigenous person story.
Let me ask you a question.
She
So
laughed.
in those towns, right? Do they have are there any signs or like little symbols of the streets? Like is there like a canoe or anything around?
No, nothing. And it's one where it's like TIPP, Canoe, and Waterman Avenue. There's nothing. And this is, by the way, for anybody that can help me out, this is San Bernardino. It's the next town over, San Bernardino, and I'm obsessed with this. And I need to, because if I find out that there's no real story behind it, but there's no way that Waterman. Because I believe the waterman thought he was some great waterman, and then he tipped the canoe and fucked it all up. There's got to be in my mind, there's got to be that story. And people think I'm crazy.
Man.
I tell Elizabeth, she's like, I don't get it. Sophie, Elizabeth's daughter, she'd never seen, I go, check this out. And now she one day I was driving her to work, and she laughed. She goes, I see it now. I see it. I'm like, I don't know what this means, but... Charlie the Unicorn says the Battle of Tippecanoe was fought on November 7th, 1811 in Battleground, Indiana. Is that true? So Tippecanoe is a real place? I don't believe any of you. You're all fucking with me, as far as I know. So anyway, that's what you get on Midnight Musings. That's a true musing. There you go. If that gives you some insight into how I spend my day when I go get lunch. And I talk to some rando, attractive 65-year-old woman who tells me the tale of, and I don't even know whether or not her daughter-in-law doesn't have breast cancer. See what happens when you're inquisitive like that? It's not always a good thing.
I hope everything is better for her daughter-in-law.
I do too, and they live in Washington State by the Columbia Gorge. So, yeah, in a world. There you go. Have I derailed the conversation? There's still people here, right? There's still. Hey, we got
Still
371 people here. It's all good.
Yeah, still got 371. Still good. We're all good.
We are all good. Tippecanoe, man. What do you guys think? I don't know. If anybody can tell me if that's true, by the way, if Tippecanoe was actually a place, I thought it was like somebody was making a plan where it's tip the canoe, Tippecanoe. That like, you know, maybe I'm not wrong. Yeah, Tippecanoe, man. So there you go. What are we gonna do? Anyway, let's see where we are at. Scott Bartholomew says Soylent Green was badass. I need another Paulina Salvatore. Do you? Soylent Green's a very interesting movie that becomes more and more realistic as the days go by. If you guys haven't seen it, so the great Charlton Heston was in 4, if you want to include Beneath Planet of the Apes, but he did 3 great sci-fi films in the late 60s, 70s. He did Planet of the Apes, he cameoed in Beneath Planet of the Apes, and he was in Soylent Green and the Omega Man. And if you want to know about 70s dystopian movies, watch The Omega Man. Was the second version of I Am Legend. The first was The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, then The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, and then Will Smith in I Am Legend. All based on Richard Matheson's novel I Am Legend. I think all 3 of them had good qualities, but none of them quite got it right. But Soylent Green's a really interesting movie.
There's a rumor that Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are doing a sequel.
A sequel. I hope so, because if you watch the original version of I Am Legend, Will Smith dies, but on the disc you can see the alternate ending where he doesn't die,
where he survives. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they actually walk out of the home.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of those movies. Scott goes on to say The Andromeda Strain is another badass movie. Yes, The Andromeda Strain, based on a book by Michael Crichton, directed by Robert Wise, who co-directed West Side Story, directed The Sound of Music and Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and great movie. Great movie. The Sundowners said, I want the Krull movie weapon replica and also a Bubo Golden Owl from Clash of the Titans.
I want the Bubo. They made him.
They made him. And they made the weapon from Krull is called the glaive. Yeah. And then you can get that. Sundowners, you can get the Bubo, the mechanical owl is awesome.
He'll have to buy it second hand.
Which I hated. That was one of the reasons why I hated, like,
I should have bought it.
The new version of Clash of the Titans, how they did Bill Bubo, how he was just sitting there. I was like, come on, man, don't do that to a classic. Like they just threw him around like he wasn't shit. I was like, come on, man, are you for real? Don't do that.
But the new version of Clash of the Titans had Sam Sam Worthington in it.
Worthington,
yeah. He's a hunk of burn love. I get it. I understand.
I love that guy.
Still doesn't beat the original.
Scott Bartholomew says the first movie my dad took me to see was Chariots of the Gods. That was like a documentary of Eric Von Donigan. I mean, I understand that. Scott goes on to say, you need to one day discuss the works of Bradbury and Lovecraft. That would be an interesting discussion. The cosmic horror of Lovecraft and Ray Bradbury was such a. I met Ray Bradbury a number of times, and he was a wonderful man. I ran into Ray Bradbury twice at Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard. He would be wearing his white. He had white shorts on and like a white golf shirt, a tracksuit, and he was so funny and so nice and kindly. And if you came up to him and talked to him and knew who he was, he would stand there and talk to you for an hour. He was an incredible, incredible man. The Jughead just sends a super sticker in. Thanks for that. I appreciate that, buddy. Kellraiser. Oh, is this a good question, guys? Is Hot Toys ever going to do a Peter B. Parker?
They didn't do it the last time.
No, they didn't.
They didn't do it the last time, but a third party company did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The thing is, it's like Hot Toys is good with leaving a lot of money on the table. Like literally, they are.
I don't. Why do you think
Like,
that is?
because they go with the popular choice, and what they do is they feel as though if they create certain characters, certain ones won't sell. They'll have like a shelf life. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't. Yeah, it never really made sense to me because it's like, yo, if they would have made a Spider-Man noir, people would have bought it. If they would have made a Penny Parker, people would have actually bought it. If they would have actually made a, well, they did give us Peter,
Porker, but in a as a
but
set.
it's a power pose as a set. You know what I mean? If they would have gave us some of the villains, people would have actually got it. But I'm like, yo, people love these films so much. If they do not give us a, Spider Punk, if they do not give us a Spider Woman, you know what I mean? Both versions. If they don't basically give us, and they should have gave us a right. I don't know why their choice in this Miguel O'Hara was the way it was. It looks horrible, and I don't understand why they did that, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. It's a possibility that they could, but it's just that it's a wait and see type of scenario. We just have to wait and see what they do because with Hot Toys, you never damn know. You never know.
I just have to say the live chat about Tippecanoe is blowing up and is blowing my fucking mind.
Wow.
The Treaty of Tippecanoe is between the U.S. Stubbling Shave says this and Native American tribes. Henry Harrison fought the Battle of Tippecanoe. So Tippecanoe. See, I had no idea. I thought I was taking it literally. Like Tippecanoe was like tip the canoe over.
Could still be.
It's a family name. It's uncommon. Man, I'm learning more about this. I gotta. You know what? I can't wait to have Google later tonight where I can find out about this because I've never Googled it.
When you put it out there to the universe, people will do their research and they'll give you the answer.
They'll bring it back. Kevin Morales says, I want Peter B. Parker with his baby girl hot toy.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal, man. Because that right there. But I have my theories about this next film, and I hope I'm wrong because it would be so sad.
What are your theories?
Is it all right? Do people want to hear the theory?
Yeah, but it's not like you can't. It's about a theory about another movie that hasn't even been made yet.
Yes, this is our show. Let's hear it.
There was a lot of emphasis on Peter B. Parker and his daughter in this film, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Yep.
He also made it a point, and it was hilarious, but I looked at this and I was like, all right, let me just kind of study this scene. It was hilarious how basically he kept trying to make Miles, to calm Miles down, he kept trying to make him hold the baby. Miles was like, he didn't want to hold the baby. He's like, come on, hold it. And he was like, yo, it works if you, whatever. And then he, lashed out and said, I had her because of you. You're the reason why I had this baby. You're the reason for whatever, right? So one of my theories is going into this next film, because I watched it and it kind of hit me like a bolt of lightning when Gwen went to get him from his home. When she came out of the portal, she went to get him and they went, as part of the team. What if there's a sacrifice, bro, and Peter B. Parker sacrifices himself and Miles has to finally hold the baby and be the mentor, bro? That would kill me, bro. That would kill me.
Well, you're a father.
Yeah, bro. That would murder me. I would walk out the theater, bro. Not mad, but just completely sad, because that right there is powerful, bro. Like, that's a powerful moment, because there was a lot of emphasis on that baby and his and the daughter in that relationship to the father. And it was such a beautiful thing, bro. It was such a beautiful thing. And the story that's why I love this movie so much, because it was about family, bro. It was, a lot of it had to do with family connection, feeling the potential loss of family, Miles not wanting to see his father, watch his father die. But I also have a theory that basically he's already experienced that loss. In his universe, it was just his uncle.
Right.
You know what I mean? So again, it's there's a lot to go off of, but man, for anybody who has not seen this film yet, please go out and see it. Like, I'm going to definitely see it again because I loved it, bro. I loved everything about this film. For me,
fantastic.
It was the film of the year. Like, it literally was my film of the year. I loved it so much. I'm
holding out that Oppenheimer or Killers of the Flower Moon, but but it's pretty good. By the way, Justin B says Tippecanoe is Canadian slang for drunk driving. All right. I like that. Okay. This is interesting. Kellraiser says, are you guys going to get the Ezra Flash hot toy? Well, I already have the Justice League Ezra hot toy. I mean, I really like, whether they use Scotch-Light or however, that face sculpt, the face sculpts, the multiple head sculpts, they're incredible.
Yeah, they are.
And like you said, look, I've been a fan of Ezra Miller since I saw We Have to Talk About Kevin, Perks of Being a Wallflower. Their performance is great. I've really liked the work that he's done, and I understand the craziness that was going on, and now reading all of that craziness seemed a little too crazy when I was reading about it. Like what's actually going on here? And now going back and delving in, all I ask is that what's he been convicted of? What was he actually gone to court for? What has he actually done? If he was doing the things that exactly as they are portrayed in the media, he would be locked up. I don't, but the law, we now live in a world, the entire American justice system is based on innocence until proven guilty. None of us believe that anymore. We live in a society where we hear something on social media and we'll pillory someone, we'll destroy their livelihood before they have their day in court. And I can't support that. I believe in the American justice system. I believe in the American Constitution. It is the greatest document to run a society ever created in human history. Am I saying that America's perfect? Hell no.
No.
But our justice system, if we don't believe in innocent until proven guilty, you're not American. And now with social media, people are having their livelihoods destroyed based on hearsay and one rumor or one comment. And no one remembers that, like, some of these people, they have families.
Yeah, they do.
People are losing their livelihood because of social media. And I would say this, show me the legal, and I'm just going to say, you want to talk about our legal system being unjust? I get it. I understand. We have the most just legal system in the world, probably. Now, is it talk about equitable based race? Fuck yeah, it's not. Look at who's in jail. It is racist. It is systemically racist because people can't afford to pay. I'm not saying it's perfect. I want people to know that. But as far as innocent until proven guilty, I always have to go with that. Even though our legal system is far from perfect. And Ezra Miller he doesn't have the convictions behind him that support what people hate. And I'm just saying, my position is I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I have no idea what really happened. And until basically it is brought up in court, and because the thing is, people have to realize the media is not the judge. The media is not the jury at all. They're going to put their own personal spin on it. Until I basically see both and like I see him have his day in court, and when they decide and when the proof is there, when it is right there, because the thing is, it's like, okay, we see video footage and people always go back to the video footage of him, and that woman.
Even that's in question.
Yeah, because we're not seeing full footage. We're not seeing everything. We're seeing a cut. It's not the director's cut. We're seeing a cut. You know what I mean? So we have no idea. Look, I need people to understand that everything that we're saying right now is not defending the dude, because if he did whatever he did and it was wrong, then yes, he deserves everything that he has coming towards him. But if he didn't, and if we find out that it was spun and things were changed, what would people say then? Because the thing is, I said this before, like, we live in a society now that even when you are proven innocent, you are still guilty.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the way it is right now. Even when you are proven innocent, you are still guilty, bro. Because people don't want to believe it. They just want their narrative to be served.
Right.
No, I was right. you're wrong. This is
Well,
who he is.
but
And that's
that's
just the way it is right now. So again, either way, I think that even if he is proven to be innocent, there is still going to be a level of guilt hovering over his head by public opinion. Public opinion, bro. That's just the way it
I
is.
totally agree. And my whole thing is that I don't know. I don't know. Give me the facts and show me what's going on. And I think one of the things that, look, I tend to err on the side of the fact that I just like people. People are weird, man. That's one of the great things about human beings. Human beings are weird. We are born into a situation where we know we're going to die. And within the fleeting time we have on this planet, we have to figure out how are we going to give ourselves meaning? And maybe how are we going to give others that love us or that we love also meaning? It's a raw deal we get as humans. And it's a tough way to be.
The thing is, it's like, yo, we live in a space right now that it's a space that I hate being in, man. I say that all the time, bro. It's just like, yo, right now, social media is giving some people wrong. It's giving the wrong people voices, to be quite honest. It is, bro. And the thing is, there's so much hurtful stuff going on right now, man. It's just like, yo, damn. It's like you have to literally have a thick skin. I am not active on Twitter at all. I'm not active on Twitter at all. I have a Twitter page, but I'm damn near. The thing is, I'm only active because whatever pictures I put up on my Instagram will automatically go there. But I'm not active on there as much. So I don't see half the stuff that's on there. I really don't care. To be quite honest, I don't. But I just know that we live in a very hateful society, bro. Like a lot of people basically go through some shit that is horrible, bro. Like it is literally terrible. Like actors, regular individuals. It's just like there's so much going on.
And
like, the thing is, it's just I bro, I say this all the time. I'm like, yo, like you as a person, as people who basically go in these spaces and these groups, these chats and stuff like that, and say so much hurtful things, you must be extremely miserable in your life. There must be something that happened to you. Either you were bullied as a kid, or it's just something that you're missing and you need something. You need a sense of gratitude. You need to bring people on your side when you do whatever you do to hurt others. That right there is bad, bro. And it happens every single day, man. It's terrible.
But you know what I find so, like, I've always, my whole life since I was a kid, have looked outside myself at stuff that I love. Like when I was a kid, 5 years old, War of the Worlds was my favorite movie. 1953, Byron Haskin, and Star Trek was there was stuff outside of me that I loved out in the world that people had made. To this day, getting that hot toy figure of Sam Wilson as Captain America, I open it up. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And getting the In-Arts Joker. And I know it's a toy. And there's a lot of people that can say, well, Rob, are you trying to say that the meaning of life is in action? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that somebody, whether you like Howard Chan or not, you can argue whatever he makes and be angry about it. You open up that box, you see that head sculpt of Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson. All is right with the world, man. I mean, I'm like, somebody started a company, 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, started making bootleg action figures. Now they become the premium action figure brand in the world, like Nike, like Air Jordans, and you can be cynical about it all you want. But Phil Knight, when he was selling Nikes out of the back of his car, he had to start somewhere. So he gets all successful, and then everybody hates everybody who's successful. You're going to hate somebody who's a billionaire or whatever. I get it. He wasn't always a billionaire. Phil Knight made that company happen. Howard Chan made Hot Toys happen. And when I get a hot toy, and you open it up, I know some people would say, it's a fucking action figure, dude. Get over yourself. But for me, who's been buying action figures or collecting action figures since I was a little kid, I've watched the whole idea of action figures grew with me. It never went away. It was never. Now, when I was a kid, the idea that an action figure would cost $300, $400 was insane. And now we're at this point where there is so much joy, and this is just one action figure, but in the world today, there is so much joy if you learn to look outside yourself. Everybody wants they're like, I want to feel good. I want to feel good all the time. You have to give me what I need to. I have to feel. I need to have my gender identity. I need to have my political identity. My religious, whatever. You affirm it right now, otherwise I'm angry. I'm like, look, man, no one can affirm it. You have to go get it. You have to go out. You have to go. You have to go out. You have to travel. You have to go outside yourself. You have to go get it. It doesn't come to you. And I think with social media, everybody thinks that happiness is when they're affirmed. And I'm like, we didn't grow up that way. It was like, you have to go out and get it. There is happiness all around us. But it's work, man. You have to work. You have to go get it. And it isn't going to come to you if you're sitting on your keyboard. I talked to some woman I never even met about Tippecanoe and Waterman Avenue. I talk it now there's a whole thing that people are saying, there is joy to be found in the world. You need to go out and find it. And everybody now is expecting it all to come to them. And I've never, when did that happen? In the last...
Another element too is the fact that it seems like there's this pressure on the new generation to be, you know, they have this burden where they have to be responsible for making things right or take on these causes. And in actuality, they don't have to do any of that stuff. You know, I personally don't think they should be worrying about any of that stuff at all, but there's this desire to have complete control over everything. And the world just isn't like that. Everything cannot be controlled. There are going to be things that are going to be completely out of your control, and they're just going to happen. And there's really nothing that can be done about it. But the desire to go ahead and have this idea that people need to have specific views on things, and they have to have specific actions and behave a specific way. It's not going to work like that across the world. You know, in fact, it's going to be more different than similar. So I'm not quite sure why this younger generation feels compelled that it has to be on their shoulders. Every time they get on, social media and they do make a post, there is a lot of weight on their shoulders. And that's something that we never had. We never had anybody putting that type of pressure on us when we made a comment anywhere. And that's something different that these generations are dealing with. It's too bad that they have to deal with that. I wish there was some way you could just erase everything if they wanted to. No one would ever know what you said, but it's just not like that anymore. And they have no control over that. Once they put it on there, there's no control over where it goes or what happens to it, or even how people interpret it. People can pull up something and a sentence could be said and it can be interpreted a million different ways. If they want to, they can write something up about it. And now it may not even have been what it was originally intended for. That's where it gets really kind of radical and radicalized in a sense, because a lot of times we're seeing passages and things that were being said that are taken completely out of context, and there's nothing that can be done about it. But people are doing things that are life-changing to others based on something that's completely false.
I just think that, like, one of the things, look at this community, look at the three of us talking here on this platform right now. It's amazing that we live in a place where we're in different parts of the United States. We're talking live to the world. There are people around the world. We can share, we can talk. People are listening to us. It's amazing. And it really is. And yet, I understand people's anger and vitriol, but I guess one of the things that I feel like I'm living in a world, would I like to have had a better career and make a lot more money? Sure. But on the other hand, I'm still having a great time.
Bruh, it's like literally freedom. Like happiness to me is free, but it's the miserable people who give it a cost. They think it costs. Like just basically how their actions, they basically feel as though it's a cost. and I see it everywhere. I mean, I see it everywhere. Hell, I've seen it. Honestly, bro, I've seen it tonight, even in the chat. They don't think I'm not look. They think I'm not looking, but I see. I see a lot of, there's certain level. The thing is, it's like if you give it attention, then of course it gets louder. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if you don't give it attention, it silences. So for the person who basically felt as though that we were talking way too much and they're lecturing and we're lecturing and they decided to take a leave of absence, good night.
Did somebody say that?
Yeah.
That we're lecturing?
Well, we're
They
a talk
said that.
show.
We're
Yeah.
musing.
They said that. Yeah, they said that we were lecturing. Oh, it's the lecturing started. So now I'm just going to take a leave. Okay. Good night.
The funny
And
thing
I-
is
and I
we
can
don't
say
have
that there's no
that's-
agenda, and I can basically say that with sheer sincerity, and I'm not being mean. Just good night. This is what musings is about. This is why we call it
musings. By the way,
because we
speaking
have
of musings, Kevin Morales says, Lael, did your inner 12-year-old scream at the Transformers ending at Noah's interview?
Yo, yo, are you crazy? Like literally, I'm telling you, yes. This is why I'm telling you they are bridging two worlds together. They are doing it, and it was done in the comics. When I saw that ending, I was like, fuck yeah, bro. Hell yeah. I loved it, bro. I loved it so much. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, we are here. We have arrived. This is the Transformers that I wanted to see, and we saw it. That ending was fucking awesome to me. That's why I said, like, this is probably one of the best since Bumblebee and the original Transformers. I loved it. I had a ball watching it, but bro, that ending, I'm not going to say what it is because, like I said, I don't want to spoil it for the chat. But when you go see it and you see that ending, you'll be like, oh, okay. Okay. It's time. It is time. It is time. I was excited, bro. I'm sitting there in my damn I choked my popcorn bag. I was so hyped. It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I was definitely excited.
Our boy Mike Alito says, compare Air to Tick Tick Boom, as in Feel Good. Well, I think they're different. I mean, Mikey and I love Tick Tick Boom. It's a different thing. I mean, I mean, they're both about creation, about creating something very different. But I think they were coming at creativity from different ways. Like you had one person creating art, and then you had a company creating a product. So I think that the idea that the thing about Matt Damon's character is he wasn't an artist, and he was working for a corporation. And here's the thing. This is what I don't think people understand about life. Mm-hmm. If you're working for a corporation like Nike, or you're working for, and people would say that, oh, you can be all kinds of cynical about Nike and products and their labor and all that, whatever. But if you look at Matt Damon's story, the character's story, he wanted to create something, yes, within the boundaries of making a shoe, working for the basketball division where basketball wasn't the force it was now. Mm-hmm. In his life, what he was doing, he was a creative force that stuck to his guns. Mm-hmm. And what I love about that was even within a corporation that's making shoes, there are people that can have vision, and pursue their vision relentlessly. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very uplifting. Now, Did Tick Tick Boom reach my soul more? Yes, because the idea of musicals and artists and all that. But from an intellectual standpoint, I loved what Air did. So I felt Tick Tick Boom more, but I thought in my mind I loved what happened in Air a lot.
Yeah. Air was it was uplifting, bro. Like it was so uplifting. It was, what I mean by that, man, it was like you're seeing what went into the ingenuity, what went into the idea, also how one person's, drive and just sticking to your guns to say, yo, this is something that I believe in. This is something I believe in for the company. and we have to get behind it if we want to see it work, because you got it, bro. Like literally, Nike was about to go belly up back then. Like literally, they were hanging on by a thread because they were strictly a running shoe. No one cared about their basketball shoes. No one cared about the original Air Force One when it was released. Nobody gave a damn about that, and people don't understand it. It came before the Jordan, but nobody cared about that. You know what I mean? But then, Jordans dropped and just segued into something that was so spectacular, and it branded Nike, and it took them to a totally different level, bro. And I love stories like that. I love to see it. And on top of that, just knowing the story of Jordan, and I loved at the end of it how, or even during, they showed us what was going to happen. What happened to his father, what was
Yeah.
happening in his future. Like they got a chance to see that, but still, I think it was awesome. The movie was awesome.
No, I did too, and I love those stories, and I love the fact that. And what's
Yeah.
great is what's really awesome about that story is you had multiple people in the company coming together, to make that happen. And Jason Bateman, he was great. I
Yeah, he
loved all.
was. He's great in everything, bro. I love Jason Bateman, bro.
I do
He's
too.
great. Yeah.
By the way, I just want to say that Tom Jr. Jackson wanted me to get everyone's opinion on this, so I'm just going to put this up for a minute. This is from Tom Jr. Jackson. Here's the thing: if someone tried to vet me for the presidency between my financial life and everything I've done in my past, I would never. Nobody would ever. It would never happen. I just want to say that. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson for this graphic. But I'll tell you, your slogan, Tom, as long as we're fucking, I believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe in that.
Oh.
And we need a song to go with it.
Yo.
Preferably EDM.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's my objection to all the talk about gender identity and all this. People are talking about. No one is talking about fucking. Like, I don't care who you want to fuck. Everybody should be getting laid and getting laid well. We have to have the teach it, man. People, you need to have the skills.
Wow.
Gender identity. What good is gender identity if you're not fucking?
It's critical.
It's critical. Learn to use your tongue in your hands. Learn to.
Tom Jr. Jackson did that.
Tom Jr. Jackson. Let's see it one more time. Thank you, Tom Jr. Jackson. There you go. Trusted leadership for the PGS and the US. Yeah, that's all. I would love to get up there and debate. I'm like, if you don't know how to bring a woman to orgasm with your tongue, you're not working hard enough. That's right. It's all about beats per minute and the angle you going at. No, I'm just kidding.
Salute.
Figure it out. Make it work.
This right. It's the face. Yo, I swear to God. Wow.
Wow.
Making the world a better place.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, let's everyone's got to be, let's get to the fucking. You talk about making. Everyone wants to feel better becoming an ideologue. Like you need to agree with.
Make you feel better. Like
look.
Make you feel better.
Nothing is going to make you feel better than somebody that knows what they're doing getting you off. You can talk about
enjoyment. That's additional enjoyment.
It is, and like you can do something well, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean. If some girl knows what to do to you that you like having done and they know how to do it, or if you're a girl and some guy, or if you're a girl and you have another girl, or if you're a guy and you have another guy, or you haven't figured out what you are, whoever you are in your body, whatever, however you identify, there is nothing better than to have somebody go to work on you that knows what they're doing and can get you off harder than you ever can get yourself off. That's the best.
Everybody needs intimacy. Everybody needs to be intimate and have those feelings. And
God damn.
That's one of the most critical elements in entertainment, is seeing the relationships between people and that intimacy. There's a desire in all of us to see that on the screen, to see it in television, in movies, in books. That's why the fantasy is absolutely something that we need to see in so many stories. Even in the way that we've grown up, even in the most physical movies, action movies, there was always a sexual undertone, some sort of sexual desire that was shown. Even in Predator, there's
When
always
Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger do that thing, come on, man.
in the jungle, like they start off normally dressed, but by the time towards the end of the film, they're both in vests and they're like all oiled down. There's always an element of that, and I think a lot of times, a lot of what we see is sort of like the male gaze, but there's a lot of female gaze or people who like men in this too. Men and their beautiful bodies, beautiful physiques. That is also part of it. So, a lot of times that's a huge driving force for me. When I watch action, I absolutely have to see the physique of a man who's in the film and see that come through. And it is very sexual. So there's a lot of elements of sexuality in all of this. And the ultimate goal is to get that intimacy, to have that climax. There's no drug that's going to give you that. You need to have another person with you so that you can get to that point. And it's critical. Robert, critical that we encourage people to do this.
Everyone's talking about gender identity. I'm non-binary. I'm like, okay, but where's the fucking? Who you fucking? Everyone, if you're non-binary, that means you have twice the chances. My God, let's go.
We need a modern version of that movie. I can't remember what it's called, but it's based in New York.
Did you guys see the trailer for The Bottoms?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
It's like a teenage angst Fight Club high school
Marshawn Lynch. The great. Somebody finally figured out how to put Marshawn Lynch in a movie. He did some great Skittles ads, I will always love Marshawn Lynch because of the Seahawks, part of the Legion of Boom. When he says, "You started a fight club to get some coochie?" That I'm telling you. And you guys don't even know.
It's called The Bottom.
The Bottoms. It's just called Bottoms. It is about these like gay girls that start a fight club to meet other chicks.
Yes, they want to go out with the cheerleaders, and so they figure they do this fight club, then the hot girls will date them.
And Marshawn, they hired Marshawn Lynch plays a teacher, and he's like, "What do you even know to like rock the man in the boat and all that? You don't even know anything." And this girl's like, "I don't think you should be talking to us that way as a teacher." Between that and Joyride, two raunchy movies that are made by women that are celebrating female sexuality. I'm all for it. Give me raunchy girl sexuality. Maybe all the men will come step up. And I mean, these are girls. I'm talking girl pop, but whoever decided to hire Marshawn Lynch, because that is the funniest. Genius. I was fucking dying. That last thing, you got to watch this.
I like the fact that the girls in Bottoms want to have sex. And
yes.
They want to have sex with beautiful women. And I think it's very important that they have sexual desire because it's there. Even at that age, they're like, we need to meet these hot chicks. Maybe if we fight, these hot chicks will like us and then we can have sex.
I mean, because guys can't be, fight the patriarchy. Men can't be sexual creatures anymore. Let's let women become sexual predators for a while. I'm all for it.
They're angry at the jock because the sexy girls all want to be with the jock, and they're like, "We got to get rid of him." Like I think in their mind, they're thinking, "We got to put him down."
That's right. Between that and Joyride, it is. I love seeing this. Mm-hmm. Women-made raunchy comedy. Bring it on. Bring it on. Thomas Logan says that Jeff Russo from Films at Home blocked me on Twitter for challenging his support for teachers pushing gender studies on kids. Russo, like most young men today, is incapable of having his opinions challenged. Well, I have to say, I really like Jeff. He's been on this channel. I like Films at Home. He's a father. I can't get mad at somebody for people have beliefs, and then if you're going to challenge them, I would ask you this. Jeff, Films at Home, is a man who talks about movies and Blu-rays and 4Ks on YouTube. That's his whole brand. I like it. He's been on Let's Get Physical Media. Mm-hmm. having conversations about gender studies with him, I don't expect that would end well. If you want to talk to him about 4Ks and all that, that would end well. But I totally get where he's coming from. I mean, he's a dad, and this is the thing that here's the thing that I get upset about. Like, if I'm talking about movies or Star Trek or whatever, I am not a social theorist. I'm not an economist. I don't know much about these things. Mm-hmm. I can talk about movies. I can talk about censorship and pop culture and what I love. But if I were to get into a conversation with somebody about, gender issues, I mean, I have my own thoughts about it. They always end in fucking. But when I talk about it, I can't. You can't expect me to be an expert on that subject, and all we're going to do is get in a fight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that it's probably best not to talk to people about issues that aren't their forte. Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes that's even baiting. For some people, bait people into having those discussions because they want to disagree. And that's the only thing I don't like, bro. It's when it's a baited conversation or you're baiting that person to talk about something that's completely out of their realm. If they say something you don't like and you go on the attack, I'm not with that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not with that.
Yeah, it's this is interesting. Wraith X7 says the N-word has been edited out of reruns of Sanford and Son, Good Times, and The Jeffersons when those series air on white-owned networks. I don't know if that's true or not, but that seems silly. Like, why would you ever? And again, the time in which those shows were made, Sanford, Son, Good Times, and The Jeffersons, by the way, all peak television from the 70s. I grew up with those shows. Funniest shit. And here's the thing. Why are we so infantilized? Why are we so, like, is that so hard? Like, when you're watching Sanford and Son or Good Times with The Jeffersons, I can't. Do we have to edit that stuff? Are we that weak? When did we become weak? Where we can't. I can't hear anything that I don't agree with. I have to hear only things that make me. When did we become so weak? I don't get it. When are we gonna talk about gender studies? Then we all should grow a pair and sack up. How about that? Mm-hmm. Or I don't know what is the equivalent, the female equivalent of growing a pair? Grow some. What would it be like?
I don't know.
Hey man, if somebody said to me, Rob, you're gonna have to have breasts, like big D plus pendulous breasts for a year, I'd do it.
I was gonna say something like that.
I would do it.
Like that.
I would love to have giant, beautiful, lactating breasts. I probably couldn't keep my hands off them for a year. I'd be down. What is that like? I don't know.
Let me add. Never mind.
No, come on. Oh no. Come on.
So, has the right been taken away from the man to call them titties, or are we have to call them breasts? So, are we allowed to call them titties,
yes,
or do we have to basically? Titties. Are we just
titties?
Like, I mean, I want to know because I don't know what we're allowed to say as men anymore. So we can still say titties.
Big old titties, yes.
Yeah, big titties. Okay.
Wait. Now, do you say is it big old titties or just titties? Do you have to say?
I mean, however you want to say it, big old titties, some titties, or I don't know if we're allowed to say titties anymore, bro. Like, that's the thing is, like, as a man, I feel as though I have to check every box literally I have to walk on eggshells in life to make sure that I am not offending anyone, even if it's coming from a certain point of sincerity, or even if it's just
too, like pussy, it's real.
That's what I'm saying. But it's just like those things now. Like, come on, man. I was raised on. I came up in I came up in the era of like Weird Science, like all the 80s films, all the movies that, you know what I mean? Like, those films were funny to me, but it shaped, basically my childhood, my teenage years, like strangely my hormones, everything. And I'm like, like, it was never coming from a place of, and then here's the thing. I get it. I know that nowadays people don't, it's like the misogynistic nature and how women were objectified and stuff like that. But if you have a man who is sincerely attracted to a woman, like seriously attracted to her and just, I mean, adores her and everything about her, is it dangerous territory for him to express himself to that person, especially if she welcomes it and she wants it?
No.
Is another person going to
No,
view
'cause
that and say, "Oh, that's
no,
fucked up"?
nothing
And
wrong
then
with
what they'll do is they'll look at her and be like, "Oh, you're allowing him? You're
She needs to
letting him
put her
say
big
that?"
girl
I'm like,
panties on.
"Yo,
She needs to put her
oh,
big girl panties on. I think that's the growing
damn,
equivalent. And just realize that men are going to be attracted to women. I mean, that's something that we all know to be a fact.
Gosh, go
yeah,
figure. How
man.
crazy is that? You know, and it's funny. I'll tell you something. To be honest, I've never been attracted to a spectrum of women. I've
Yeah.
never understood that there's women that are in a spectrum. To me, there's not like an 80% woman or a 70% woman or a 60. I've never seen a spectrum of women. I've only seen women, glorious,
You know what? And you know
beautiful,
what?
smart, vivacious, talented,
Exactly. But here's the thing.
knowledgeable,
So
empathetic.
Toya said to me, she was like, she says to me all the time, she was like, "I'm part of the itty bitty titty crew." And I look at her and I'm like, "I love your titties." And I tell her that, like, "I love your titties. I am satisfied with your titties." And she's excited about that. She loves that I love her titties.
Well,
That is
isn't it
my
fun?
woman. I'm allowed to express myself to my woman the way it is. And she says it, she welcomes it. But in the nature of public opinion, if you say that, then people will think that you're a misogynistic bastard or an individual who just objectifies women. And I'm like, damn, like now we can't really say like or be attracted to women without it becoming a thing. Like, and that's what it's so fearful, because it's like we're saying that it's almost like saying a man is not allowed to be attracted to a woman.
You know what's
That's what it
funny?
feels like it's being
It's
said, bro.
bizarre. It is bizarre.
It
You know,
is really bizarre.
but
Like,
you
it
know,
is.
you know what you just pointed something out that men know, but women look. Latoya was expressing an insecurity she had to you. She said, "I'm part of the itty bitty." What women don't understand is we as men in our lives, we see talk about a spectrum, a wide spectrum of titties, of breasts, big breasts, small breasts, medium breasts. We see all breasts. And I have to
Yeah,
tell
bro.
you, Lael, and I think if you're going to back me up on this, have you ever seen a breast that disappointed you?
No.
Never.
I mean, no.
Never.
No.
There's
No,
never a breast.
bro, I
I've seen,
can't.
and the thing is, what women don't understand is like the way they're built. And we don't even think of that. Like, I've never looked at a woman just because of her breasts. It's her entire body. Like it's a holistic thing. And women, there are some women like, okay, I understand you might think you want, double D's or whatever. It wouldn't fit on you.
Yeah,
It would not be good. And so women are, men. For all you ladies out there, all the 6% of my audience that are ladies that have been watching this show, all men, if we get to see and caress and taste a breast, we don't care. While we're there, it is the most beautiful breast we have ever seen. Always.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's
It
also
is.
true.
That's the thing, is because if you truly, and for me, because especially if you adore the person that you're with, you're
Yeah.
welcoming everything, her, just the curve, the curvation, like there's her body, like just the artistry of the female anatomy. You admire it. It's an art form, and she wants you to express yourself when you're in a relationship. She wants you to want her. She wants you to love how she is. And we express ourselves that way. And to have now a certain level or a society where people frown upon that, like literally, like they do, like it's like, I don't understand that, because I mean, isn't this what we were created for? We were created to procreate. We were basically created to love each other. Like, and the thing is right now in the space that we're in, it doesn't matter where you exist, whether you're the opposite sex or if it's same sex, whatever. You adore each other. You love each other. There's certain things about each other that if it's same-sex marriage or whatever, you are attracted to that person, and it should be okay. It
Dude,
should be fine to be that way,
I
but it
got
shouldn't be frowned upon. Again, bro, it's like really, it's like I feel as though I have to walk out into society right now, bro. And luckily, I have my girl, and I have a woman who I adore, and she's all I need and all I will ever need, right? I'm glad that I have that. But if I was a single man in today's society, bro, literally, it would be fearful for you to approach a woman to know exactly what it is to say. Because the thing is, you don't know whether or not you're going to be attacked. Like, or if someone's going to say, oh, well, this, that, or you're disrespect. No, I don't want to feel that. And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want my son, if I had a son, I wouldn't want my son to feel that way. Whatever. I want you to express yourself, but as long as it's done in a very respectful way and you're not mistreating or demeaning a woman, like, come on, man. Like, all of these things and and the nature of how we grew up and what we believed in and what we were taught, as long as it was a level of respect. I mean, I miss being like in high school and how I used to always go to sleep thinking about my girlfriend, wake up in the morning thinking about her and how beautiful she was. And I couldn't wait to see her, whether it was the
naked.
summertime, springtime, whatever. Bro, like literally, I remember, and I remember I walked 45 minutes, I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour over to my girl's house just for her to open up the door to say hi and then close it because her dad was home.
Yeah.
Literally. But
dude,
I did that because all I wanted to do at that time was just see her in person. That's all I needed. And I walked, and I was young when I did this, but all I wanted to do is see her in person and let her know that no matter how long it was that I got the chance to see you at this moment, even if it was for 5 minutes, I loved you that much just to come over here just to see you and say, look, I just wanted to see you. That's it. And then be out. That was it.
Look,
you know what I mean? Those things I remember those things and I loved it, bro. But it's like today it's just not safe anymore.
I agree 100%. And I think part of the reason what has happened is like our love of because now hardcore pornography is at the click of a button. It used to be that do you remember, like, you could make out with a girl for 3 hours, and if you got your hand underneath her skirt or underneath her bra and you could touch her breast, even though you've been making out for 3 hours, it was worth the effort. It was worth the effort. Now we live in a world where young people, 10, 11, whatever, you go on, you see pornography and you're watching Olympic level fucking, even though it's not really explicit Olympic level fucking when you're 12 or 13. Yeah. And I think a lot of people now are completely put off by physical activity, where it used to be the end all be all of high school life. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, I don't want to deal with that. If I had the pressure when I was in high school I was like, we were just happy to kiss somebody, and it would go from there. The pressure of the modern age now is so weird because people have already gone and seen the most extreme shit in the world. I'm convinced, this is a theory, I'm convinced that all of this talk about non-gender conforming or whatever, that is a reaction to, it is a rejection of, we shouldn't be seeing, like, I don't have a problem with pornography or anything as an adult. But as kids, we're seeing input that we shouldn't see yet. It's a normal progression that we're supposed to go through to develop our own sense of self and our own identity. And I think a lot of people are rejecting things that they've seen because it doesn't compute. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if I was watching hardcore porn all day long when I was 12 years old, I don't think I would ever have kissed a girl. I would have been too scared. I'm like, I can't do that. No. And I think, and that's just, I'm using sex as an extreme example, but I think the entire world is looking at all this stuff and they aren't learning it on their own. and they're rejecting what they should normally be. And a lot of this, like, and that's why when you hear a lot of stuff about issues about sexuality and gender, no one ever talks about fucking. They're always talking about their identity. Well, what does that mean? Like, to me, it's like, are you gonna be chowing some box or sucking some pole? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No one ever talks about that. They talk about their gender and completely take it away from their sexuality. And it's a really bizarre place to be. I'm like, what about making out?
Maybe they're not having sex.
Oh, well, the rate of teen sexual activity has been plummeting. We've got testosterone levels dropping amongst men. Fertility levels are worrisome in terms of how they're plummeting.
Yeah.
I mean, we are intellectualizing or social justice warrioring humanity out of ourselves. We are so worried about these things. It's the love of titties that make you want to succeed so you can see more of them.
Or dick.
Or dick. Yeah, I don't mean to, I'm coming from the straight male perspective. And by the way, as a straight male, let me just say, gay adjacent.
Wait, time out. Said that with such a straight face.
But she's right.
She is, but it's just funny how she says it, bro. Like, she said it straight and powerful too. Or dick. Like, it's real powerful, bro. Like, yeah. Somebody. Ooh, that was funny. That right there was funny. But but it's real. It's real.
Look, I mean, women know the power. If you're with a guy, you could speak to this. I would imagine when you're, as a woman, when you know how you arouse a man.
Yeah.
There's power in that. If a man is aroused by you, that's all you need to know. I mean, what you can do to a man, what a woman can, or whatever partner. I mean, there is power in knowing that you can. Am I wrong?
You're right. I mean, tonight I did. Lorena and I watched Avatar Part 2. The second one, The Way of Water.
Yep.
And in the movie, I noticed that there were a lot of circumstances where the kids, let's say the Sully family's kids, were noticing the kids from the other, the water people.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see teenagers who actually were like, "Hey, who's that?" Like,
I want to hook up with them.
That's natural. That's how things actually work.
And it felt like a teenage story, like them meeting for the first time, and they're just interested in like a love story between the one teenage female and the other. Like, it was there, and it was a beautiful thing to basically see in the film, because it was an attraction that was there, and it sort of even reminded you how Sully and Nateri met. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like a callback to that, but like,
it's like, how did you become a Navi? Well, exactly. It had to do with your mom. You see, I wanted to be with your mom.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's just how it was. Like, you're right though. Like, just seeing that, like those that the coming of age story where two people who are attracted to each other, and showing that how it evolves even through like such like tumultuous time periods, like what's going on with the tribes and how they're being slaughtered and sought, what I mean, stuff like that. It was a beautiful thing to see though. So I want
you to continue on with this. Just, I know we're going a little later. I know you guys have to go. Give me two minutes.
Okay.
I leave it to you guys. Talk about the fucking in the Navi society.
Well, it was natural. It was nice to see teenagers behaving in a natural way. When was the last time we even saw something like this? I mean, it didn't have anything over it they didn't have the weight on the shoulders. Their parents weren't saying you shouldn't be interested in one another. It was just nice to see what it could develop into. And their parents, it's a wholesome environment as well. So it's not sort of anything that was bad or looked on in a negative way. It's natural. And I think it was important for us to see those types of relationships especially for
Mhm.
teenagers to see, yeah, it's okay to notice each other.
Yeah.
That was really important. And I think that's one of the many reasons why the film made as much as it did.
Mhm.
But it's important for people to see that. And
It's
we
a
all,
way to also extend the story. Like you're expanding the story. It's not one dimensional. You're seeing how it can go from one family dynamic, to now it's passed down to the younger, the
yes,
youth, and how they're going to basically handle it going forward. Because like it's again, like you have, at the end, I was afraid that they would leave, but now that they were like welcomed into that tribe and they've become part of the water tribe, now we're going to see the Sully family expand, with his son and who he's met. You know what I mean? So, breeding there, it's a beautiful story, and it can only continue going forward. And it needs to. You need a continuation. You need something that's going to drive a story forward. It's not just about Sully. It's not just about Nateri. It's not just about the tribe, but it's also about the kids, like in how they are pushing the narrative, the discovery for them to fit into this tribe, knowing that they are so different from each other, but then they're teaching each other different things. So it's important.
another thing too is that the parents also still had date night.
Yeah, yeah,
And that
yeah,
was important as well. They need time to
yeah.
be with one
Mhm,
another too. And they
mhm.
made a point of putting that. They didn't have to put that in Avatar
Yeah.
Part 2. That didn't have to be
Nah.
there.
Like, go on, go swim. I need some cheeks tonight. Go swim. Just go swim. It's time for me and your mom. Come on. Come on. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it was nice
Yeah.
to see that in a story. And I kind of described that as
I'm
being
back.
an essential part,
Uh-huh.
critical for the family as a whole to function. How is there even going to be more Navi?
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
is
How was it?
another question.
I want to write a biopic about I'm one of these days, Rob, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna bring a couple notepads and I just want you to tell me your life story from beginning until now. And I'm just gonna write about I gotta pick an actor. I just gotta find the right actor to portray the role. And we're gonna do this. And I'm gonna draw off of some films that have already been done. Number one, it's gonna comprise of three different films. One being, of course, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Uh, Another being Garth. Remember Garth?
Yeah, well, you
That was
need to see because a lot of people don't know this. I did make a movie about myself.
You did?
Yeah,
Yes, free enterprise.
yeah,
Free Enterprise. Okay.
but you can't get it, so people haven't seen it. It was the height of hubris, as William Shatner said, and I mean, it was me 25 years ago, but it was an
Okay.
amalgamation of what happened in the early 90s. I mean, it's kind of a compilation of what happened in moving to LA, and we were heavily criticized. There were people that really criticized the portrayal of, like, first of all, you made a movie about yourselves, and
Mhm,
the conceit was, but William Shatner was our friend, and we
mhm,
looked at Kevin Smith movies, and we looked at movies like Swingers, and that's where we got the idea of it all. And
mhm,
what I found really interesting was, I thought the fan community, most people liked it, but the people that didn't like it, especially in fan circles, really had a problem with the sexuality in the movie.
mhm.
They fans.
I want to see it, Rob.
Oh, dude, I'm going to have a watch party. I've been doing a re-edit of the film, and I'm going to invite everybody, because
I need to see
very
it
few people
because
say,
I've never seen it.
you, dude,
You would
dude,
love it.
you
And
in
there's sex in it.
particular, you in particular would I think you would find it quite amusing. As a matter of fact, hold on for a second. Give me a minute. Let's continue the conversation that we're having. But
I want to definitely see it, bro.
oh,
I got, I
well,
gotta see it. I
well,
gotta see it. You've seen it already, Udum?
Yes.
See,
uh,
I gotta see it.
it is. Well, the thing is, it's out of print. You can't see it, which is I mean, I've got copies of it and stuff, but it's
Mhm.
unfortunate because the man who owns it doesn't want he doesn't want us to have it. It's 25 years old, and it's I don't know. He's not in a great place, and hopefully we can get it from him and show it and all that. But it will. Let me just see if I can get it, because I think you'll find this to be quite hilarious, because a lot of people don't know that I've made this movie. That I wrote and directed and edited this film. A lot of people just don't know about it. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I don't talk like you know how you don't talk about your resume.
Is this it right here?
It's a clip, yes.
That's a clip of it, like some of it.
Yeah.
Well, here I'm going to show you. I will play you the trailer.
Okay.
So I'm going to play the trailer. I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear? Yeah. So I'll play the trailer. This is going to be funny because you don't know anything about this. So this is going to be hilarious. So I'm going to play it for you. And you tell me what you think.
All right.
So here's the trailer for the movie that you'll see. You'll see. Here we go.
Since Mark was a boy, and since Robert was a boy, they've worshipped one
Oh, there's no
man.
sound?
The Laurence Olivier of the Airways.
What are you doing here?
I don't know.
I'm one of the top 10 imaginary friends
I can see the
kids
sound.
have, just
Oh,
behind
you guys
John
can't hear
Travolta,
it, but the
Eddie
show,
Jackson,
if
and
you're
Farrah
live on the
Fawcett
show,
Mingus.
they can hear it.
But
Oh my God.
they're about to discover
Make a big scene.
Mr. Shatner, I would like to say that I think you are the greatest American actor ever.
I'm a Canadian.
that their lifelong hero
I've got an idea.
is definitely
The guy on the left.
not of this world.
It's a musical version of Julius Caesar. I want to do the complete text. Well, I'll play Julius Caesar and all the other parts too.
The man I idolized since I was 2 turns out to be a raving loon.
Ouch.
And now,
My lady friend, she left me.
How can that be? I don't know. I mean, you're you.
he's going to lead them
How cool is that?
on a voyage
Oh my.
to find love
Guys, you gotta mix a little reality in with your imagination.
that's way stranger than science fiction.
I'm not the one with the green girl sex fantasy.
Oh my.
Did you see the way that she was peeping you?
I don't believe it.
I just met the most fantastic female.
Claire.
You should be happy for her.
When Spock got infected by the spores and fell in love with Leela Kalomi, he was happy too. But Kirk fought him, made him resist.
Whatever.
Who do you see starring in it?
Rafer Weigel, Eric McCormick, Audie Englund, Patrick Van Horn, Phil Lamar, and William Shatner
And that Dr. Spock guy with those pointy ears.
as Bill.
You can call me Mr. Shatner now.
No tears for Caesar. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones.
No one will ever believe this.
Free enterprise. Love long and party.
Dance with the captain! Oh, yeah!
I wish we could all
gotta
see the film, but yeah, it was interesting because it was when we made the film, it was a representation of what it was like to be living as a fan and a nerd in 90s LA. And it was, having William Shatner play himself and all that. It was a pretty crazy. I'll tell you a funny thing too. We had part of Tupac's posse, Thug Life, and the Rated R, or pardon me, he was not Thug, it's just Rated R, who is part of Thug Life, is in the movie and does a rap song with Shatner.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's it was fun to make, and it was weird because that was the only movie I ever directed.
So why doesn't the person who owns it want it shown, or what's?
I think he's older than us, and I think he's just a little bit embittered. And if he gave it to Mark and I, it's literally a movie about our lives that he can hold hostage for whatever reason. And I really liked him. He was very, very good to me, and paid for the whole movie. And the movie has been out of print since 2006. You can find you can get the here's the special edition DVD, and I would love to put it out in 4K, but it's kind of a forgotten film. And what's really interesting is not a lot of people saw it when it first came out, and I think people would really get it. I'd probably get canceled for some of the jokes in the movie now, though. I mean, but yeah, hopefully it'll get out this year. That's kind of been my focus, is to get it out. And we went to film festivals all over the world. When I saw it at the Hawaii Film Festival, Quentin Tarantino came and sat in front of me. And at the party afterwards, he for an hour, he's like, man, that was some funny shit, man. Shatner was funny. He'd seen the movie once. He knew all of Shatner's dialogue from the film and was repeating it back to me this party. He's like, how'd you get him to say that, man? And it was pretty great. I mean, the first place the movie played was in Spain. The world premiere was at the Sitges. I mean, how cool is it? I made my first movie and the world premiere was in Spain. And it's funny because I don't talk about it much because people are like, here's the funny thing. When you make independent movies, if the movies don't make money, I mean, it did well in the festival circuit, but it came out it had no advertising budget. If we had the internet we have now, it would have been a big hit. But we didn't, and the movie died. And it died. It opened, our distributors opened it in 9 theaters in LA opening day. And I'm like, don't open it in 1. Open it in like the Sunset 5, great independent theaters, so everybody goes and the per screen average is high. If you open it in 9 theaters without any prints and any advertising budget, no one's going to go. So the theater will be empty and it won't make any money. But if you open it in 1 theater and it's packed, then it shows that the theater, then it made money. Well, they didn't listen to us. And that's been kind of the story of my life in terms of my film career. People are like, well, what do you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I've been a student of this business for my entire fucking life. And you went to business school and Ivy League school and you haven't seen shit. I mean, what's amazing, what people don't know about the entertainment business, about movie making, is the people that work at the studios, for the most part, have never actually made movies. And so they don't know anything about making them.
So they were just like hired in positions.
Yeah, well, they had Ivy League educated. See, a corporation who owns the studios, corporations are like, okay, we have to hire somebody that has an MBA from an Ivy League school, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, whatever school you want. That's just part of their prerequisite. You have to have an Ivy League MBA to work in a movie studio. So you get a job at a studio. Now you are somebody who's deciding what movies are getting made based on analytics and stuff. Well, the people that created Hollywood didn't. The Jews, the immigrant Jews that came over and created Hollywood, proud member, card-carrying member of that group of people. They made movies based on their gut. They knew you have to give people what they want. You have to give them. You have to make movies that people want to see, which means you have to be populist in your thinking. You have to understand, what does the general population want to see? And when they go to a movie, they want to be taken away to a different land, a different place. They want to feel things they're not feeling in their real lives. And that's why people wonder, why did Top Gun Maverick make $1.5 billion? Why did people keep going back to the movie over and over again? Because it made you feel fucking good to watch it. Nobody was telling you what you were supposed to think, and that's what great storytelling at the cinematic level. I mean, yeah, there are great movies that tell you something about the human condition, like Lawrence of Arabia. You're learning a lot about, or The Godfather. You're learning a lot about the human condition when you're watching The Godfather, but they're not, you don't know you're swept up in the Corleone family saga. You don't even know what you're learning. But nowadays, everyone wants to beat you over the head with their ideology. No one wants to see that. That's not entertaining. And great stories, their messages are baked into the DNA of the tales. You don't even know you're learning something, even though you are. When Vito Corleone says, "Never tell anyone outside the family what you're thinking," that's an important lesson to learn for anybody. You don't have to be part of the Corleone family. The fact is, the family sticks together. If you dissent, You don't do it in front of people that are not the family. You take your grievances to your father, your mother, your brother, your sister afterwards. Nowadays, everybody wants to air their grievances. I'm like, y'all have to you got to watch The Godfather. You got to learn. Listen, I've kept you over. It's almost 4:00 in the morning. This has been the hilarious, very entertaining. I love streaming with the two of you. I'll let you guys go, and then I'll finish super chats and all that. First of all, where can people find you?
Well, everybody, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Positive Fandom, where I do all the parlay in the fandom. You can also find me here on the Burnettwork, on shows like this, or on Ladies of the PGS. And you can also find me on the 1/6 Scale Man Network, on on Uncivilized Scoundrels, and on Lorraine Creole's channel. So you can check me out there. And guys, please like and subscribe to Positive Fandom. And it's so great to be back on Musings with the both of you. Such a wonderful night.
This was hilarious. I mean,
and Tom Jr. Jackson, we were all good people.
Dick.
We were all.
Yeah, that was too funny, bro. I was so. I swear to God. That was
fantastic. And Lael, the 1/6 Scale Man, where can people find you?
Oh man, you can find me at the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel and Instagram as well. We are on our way to 4,000 subscribers. Please, everybody, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please head on over. All you have to do is hit subscribe. That's it. You know, and the content speaks for itself. Again, we have, today we had, of course, Figure Flex Friday. Sunday, we have Collectors Lounge International. Monday is Comic Book Talk with Friends. So if you want to know the history of comics, everything that we know about comics, artist runs, everything, you head on there on Mondays. We have Say What Wednesday, of course, Uncivilized Scoundrels. So definitely head on over there. A couple of videos we have up and coming, a collection tour have up and coming. So yes, please, if you haven't already, do me a solid and just head over and just hit subscribe at the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. Please do. Appreciate you. And yes, you'll find me back here on Friday night for Midnight Musing every Friday. Let's go.
Before you leave, I just want to say our boy Anthony, 1/6 Scale Mafia, sent in some super chats. And he used graphic interface. He used text for the love of boobs or dick.
I love it.
I'll tell you something. I am a big proponent. I don't care who you are attracted to. I don't care what your gender identity is. Yeah. I think all of you, all people, all shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, whatever. We should all be fucking. And I do believe that the world is a better place if, however you identify, whatever your sexuality is, that you are finding physical ecstasy with the partner of your choice, wherever that may be. And I will support that. A happy world is a world that's fucking. Fucking who you want.
And there is no drug out there that's going to give you an orgasm. You need another person for that. So get to it.
Well,
yes, please do.
You know, the orgasms you give yourself, though, are pretty spectacular. Let me just.
Well, you're having solo sex. That's different.
There's nothing better. There is nothing better than if you're with a talented partner who knows how to touch you in ways that. Because some of the greatest moments of my life were afforded to me. Well, as James Bond said in Never Say Never Again, the greatest rapture of my life was afforded to me in a boat in Nassau. And I'm telling you. You can, there's nothing better to be with a partner, a skilled, enthusiastic partner that knows what they like and what they do. And there's nothing better. There's nothing better. I think it's sad because I think a lot of the modern age could use a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Kids today, forget your gender identity. You need more fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing safe sex, you don't want to have unwanted pregnancies. I'm just saying, why is everyone talking about their gender identity instead of fucking?
True. I don't know. It's so sad.
It is so sad. Go get some, kids. Go get some. With willing partners.
Yeah, definitely.
Just saying.
Definitely do that, as always.
But kids, I will let you go. This has been a great Midnight Musings. I will see you next week.
Yes.
And
Next
I'm going to
week,
continue on. Got super chats. I got things to deal with, and I'll continue on. So I will let you guys go.
See you later on.
All right. What a great show. I love those two. They're the best. It's so great to have them. Now, let me get back to your super chats. Don't think I forgot them. Let's see. Scott Bartholomew asks, what are your thoughts about V? Not the V you're thinking about. We're talking about the 1983 Kenneth Johnson's miniseries V, the 2-night event where aliens come to Earth. I loved V. V was a huge deal when it came out. I mean, God, V is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. I have an awesome Japanese Laserdisc box set that has some really cool artwork. I loved V. I liked V, The Final Battle, the 6-hour miniseries. The Laserdisc box set I have is all 10. You can get it on Blu-ray. Warner Archive release V. I love V. It's great. I thought it was great. Scott goes on to say, you need to invite Shatner for a discussion. Hopefully it won't cost you an arm and a leg. Shatner, I would love that. I'd love to have him come on the show. The show. His time is valuable. You got to pay for his time, but I'd love to do that. It'd be great. Kellraiser says, whoa, dudes, I said Ezra Flash hot toy, meaning the new suit from the movie. Wasn't meaning to start a moral debate. Thoughts on the new suit? Kellraiser, oh my God, that's hysterical. Okay. I'm sorry they're gone now because that's hilarious. I thought you were asking, like, would we buy the Ezra Miller hot toy? But I have the first Ezra Miller Flash from Justice League. It's great. I love the new suit. I will totally buy that hot toy. And that the face sculpt's incredible. Really, really good. I will totally buy it. Mikey Lito says, thanks for the recommendation. Love you folks. Hey, man. If there's one member of the Post-Geek Singularity that's self-actualized, it's Mikey Lito. He knows exactly who he is. I don't know what recommendation you mean, Mikey. S-Beam. S-Beam has been a member for 31 months. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't realize you could, wow. S-Beam says, time keeps flying by, 31 months, about to get, shout out to the great chat, the PGS community. Love being a part of it. Shout out to Mmmm and Lael for being a great conversation to Midnight Musings. Rob, you the man. Well, thank you, S-Beam. Hey, wait a minute. It's been 3 years. Where's my figure, man? Just kidding. Let's see. Anthony says, Rob, Lael, when Joyce Heiser bared her breasts in the 1985 film Just One of the Guys, I was 7 and immediately started kissing the TV screen. No lies. By the way, Just One of the Guys is a great movie. Sherilyn Fenn's in that movie. That movie's really good. I really like that movie a lot. And yeah, I mean, half the 80s teen films, I don't know. You know what I find strange? Here's what I find strange. Nowadays, we will pillory 80s teen comedies, whether it's Last American Virgin, whether it's Porky's, and yet we now have The Idol, and we now have Euphoria. There is a sort of a nihilism and an apocalyptic quality to those two shows that I find odd. I guess because, I mean, people would say, oh, that's, the old patriarchal sexuality. But I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not convinced that our modern age is presenting us a bacchanalian way of life that I appreciate. It's yeah, I don't know. Culture Wars Diplomacy says, you remember the days when it was the right trying to scare people away from sex? Yeah. Now it's like, I mean, the left, I used to think I was a left-leaning classical liberal. The left scares me way more than anyone else now. I don't get it. I don't understand. Scary. Thomas Logan says, I didn't bait Russo. Why make political statements on Twitter and expect everyone to agree with you? Dude might as well disable comments. Blocking folks because you have zero debate skills is weak or narcissistic. Listen, I would say, look, I think Jeff's a nice guy. By the way, I don't disagree with you. I think if you're going to say stuff on social media, you have to be aware. You have to accept the blowback or people dissenting with you. I mean, everyone knows look, and people have come after me. This channel, my mission statement, as it were, is that this is a channel for healthy debate. And the only people, the people are always coming after me like, you went on so-and-so's, by you talking to this person, that means this person's a racist. I'm like, I try and be nice to all these people. I'm like, okay, first of all, the fact that you are either or people, you want to paint people, tar and feather people with a black and white brush, that this person's either this way or they're that way. People have different points of view. The United States, everybody in this country has different points of view. And what I find very distressing is we, who all live in the same country, have now been programmed to vilify those that don't agree with us. And I'll tell you something. It is in my experience, I have found that if you take political discourse out of the equation, you're not talking to somebody face to face. I have found, like, if you are, I'll give you an example. Where I live now, one of my tires blew out, and I have a Prius Prime, so I don't have a spare. And I was sitting by the side of the road. I was calling roadside assistance, getting that taken care of. Thank you, Toyota. I had like 5 people stop. It was late. 5 people stopped. They different kinds of people, different colors of people. They all stopped and they said, "Hey man, you need some help?" Now, somebody cynical could say, those people, what if they meant you harm? I can tell you, none of them did. They all stopped. They all asked if I needed help. They were smiling. They were nice. They wanted to make sure that, and even when I was talking to them, they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, no. My car is roadside assistance. I'm going to get it towed. It'll get fixed and all that. 5 different people, middle of the night, not malevolent, different kinds of people. They stopped to see if I needed some help. I believe in the United States. I believe in America. I believe in America. Like the beginning of The Godfather. Because in my experience of this country is that most of the people that I've interacted with in my life in various capacities, like when my car blew out, but things like that, are good people. I really do like people. I think that we have a great bunch of folks that are being pitted against each other by forces that it's in their interest to do so. Look, and I'm not even a big conspiracy theorist. It's just about money. I wish it was about more, but it's not. It's always about money. Money. And the funny thing is like, look, would I like to be rich? Sure. Love it. Love to have tons of money. But even if I was rich, eventually I'd be comfortable. I'd be able to make more things, be able to do more stuff. But, you know, what makes me happy is literally hanging out with Lael and was fun. I mean, you can't pay for that. I could have $100 million in the bank. And could I find somebody like Lael and to hang out with on a Friday night and have fun? I don't know. Probably not. But I like people. Poot Shoot Riot says, "Hey guys, just curious on your takes on the new take of Venom in Spider-Man 2, the game. It's not going to be Eddie, so hyped for the game." Okay, well, Yuri, I mean, he's the best. I think the game's gonna be great. If they make changes to Venom, I'm all good with that. That first game was great. The second game, Yuri is talking about how great the gameplay is. I can't wait to play that game. I think that game's gonna rule. Can't wait. I love the physics of the first game. I thought it was awesome. So I'm down. I'm totally down. I hope it's great. Zachary Zarvos says, I saw The Flash the other day. Just in time before I leave for 2 weeks of training with the Marines tomorrow. I can't wait to talk about it with everyone. Schnepp would have loved it. You all rock. Zachary, I'm not going to say what it is, but there's something that happens at the end of that movie. I mean, one of the great regrets, I will say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. One of the great regrets of my life is I was not sitting next to John Schnepp when we were watching The Flash, because he would have freaked the fuck out. And I do think if it wasn't for John Schnepp and his documentary, I mean, The Death of Superman Lives, what happened? There's something that happens in The Flash that I don't think would happen if he didn't show his love. So, yeah. Thanks for that, Zachary. Cheers. Cheers to John Schnepp. Let's hoist a glass. If you have a glass of not just Diet Coke, but if you have a glass, if you're drinking something, if you're smoking a bowl, you have an edible, let's raise our glasses to the late, great John Schnepp, who's been gone for 5 years, which I cannot believe. Cheers to you. He would have loved The Flash. Tom Jr. Jackson says, Rob, do you ever pick your feet in Poughkeepsie? That is a French Connection reference, and I thank you for that, Tom. That's very funny. Let's see. Did anyone else send anything in? I will see if anyone sent any tips in. Oh. Stubble McShave says, okay, so before I say this, Stubble McShave, let me read his tweet. I'll say this without giving away any spoilers, but Rocky is one of the greatest engineers in pop culture. I'm just going to say that. So Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, wrote 2 other books. He wrote a book called Artemis that I never read, and he wrote another book called Project Hail Mary that came out in 2021. So people have been telling me about Project Hail Mary, and I read a lot. So Stubble was really going after me, telling me to read Project Hail Mary. So last week, I ordered it from Amazon, the hardcover, of course. So last Saturday, I got the book, Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. I figured, when I get a new book, I always like to open it up, the first page, and sample it. I'm sitting in the kitchen, like in the little island. We have little stools on the island in our kitchen. I open it up to read it. 2 hours later, I'm like on page 220. And Elizabeth comes and she goes, wow, you must really like that book. And I was like, Project Hail Mary, which Lord Miller is supposed to direct the film version that Ryan Gosling is going to star in, is wildly entertaining. Wildly entertaining. It is now I would say this right now. Don't read it's I knew way too much about it before I read it. If you don't know anything about it, if you want to just listen to the audiobook, I get it. I don't like audiobooks. I like to read. But if you want to read a great, wildly entertaining science fiction story that is so entertaining, it'll put a smile on your face. It's so good. I cannot recommend Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary enough. If you want to read a book, if you want to put a smile on your face, you want to read some science fiction that's very accessible to the everyman, but also will teach you a lot of stuff about hard science in a very entertaining way, you got to read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Please. Highest recommendation. Check it out. You're going to love it. And on that note, I'm going to end this stream, and I'm going to just thank everybody for being here. What a great show. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson for moderating. I want to thank everybody for being a fantastic audience. I really love you guys. The Post-Geek Singularity, Imagination connoisseurs, look, it's taken me a little while longer. There's been some other things I'm dealing with that are unrelated to YouTube that are all good, work related. But remember the new panel show, the Imagination Connoisseurs, is happening. Lana Ewan, one of my favorite new creators on the channel, she is going to drop a review tomorrow about David Cronenberg's The Brood, which is amazing. You're going to see a lot more of Alan and Lana on this channel. There's more stuff. King Tannic, he's still killing it with his show, of course, The Otaku Experience. And we're going to have more Architects of Imagination. There's going to be all kinds of good stuff happening on the channel. But we can't do it without you. And if you're a member of the channel, you can become a member of the channel for like 99 cents a month or something. We are having a member chat tomorrow starting at noon. It's going to be starting at noon. So only because I literally have training dogs tomorrow. So there you go. And of course, Let's Get Physical Media will be happening on Sunday. So come see Dieter Bastian. And by the way, for my friends in Germany, Tango Shalom is in fact opening. It's going to be playing at the a Jewish film festival in September. And it's going to open all across Germany on October 8th. So that's pretty exciting. For those of you who don't know, Tango Shalom is a movie that I produced and I edited. I was the visual effects supervisor, the post supervisor, and I did the voice of Moses. You can now see it here domestically in America. It is streaming. It's streaming on Peacock. It's on Amazon, and in the UK, it is on Sky. It's at the Sky Store. Now, look, it's not everyone's bill of fare here. I get it, but hey, check it out. And on that note, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen. And I mean that. And with that, I say to all of you, have a better night.